City. Well, not so quiet today. I remember just a few years back when it was the hottest tempered town in the whole valley. Guess that's all gone now. Only excitement left appears to be a couple of noisy drunks.
Oh, wait, get you right in that song. Yeah, it does.
Just opposition. You boys have had it.
No, come on.
We're going to cool you off a bit.
Wait a minute.
There ain't going to be no nonsense in this town, not so long as I'm sheriff here.
Wait a minute now.
Move it.
No, just a minute.
Go. Wait a minute.
Now, just a minute. We just haven't looked far.
What is it now?
Go to John McGovern.
And if there's a sound out of either one of you, I'll crease your skulls permanent. Well, what can I do for... My golly. Vint Bonner.
Heck, Partridge.
Why, you old rustler, you. Never thought I'd see you again. How many years it been? 5, 6?
Long haul. And you're still the sheriff of Quiet City.
Sure I am. Why? Did it surprise you?
No, not at all. Wouldn't be the same without you. Sheriff Partridge in Quiet City.
Well, I admit it's been a long time. 37 years. Well, what brings you to these parts, Vint?
Little favor for Tim Parker. You remember him?
Tim? Oh, sure. What's he got into?
Among other things, a big hunk of acreage down this way. He asked me to come down and sit on it till he got here. Out toward Fulton.
Oh, Fulton. That's farmland. That's all you ever see around here now, Vint. Nothing but farms.
Times change. This town's changed, too.
Main Street's 4 blocks longer, and houses run all the way down to the creek. There's a lot of people for one man to keep towing the mark.
When's the last time he had a shooting here?
What difference does it make when the last time was? Point is, next time it'd be 5 minutes from now if I didn't walk up and down the streets all day and half the night, keeping the peace like I always done.
Well, how long is it?
Oh, how do I know? I don't put them on the calendar. You know as well as I do that if I walked out of here without my gun on, those varmints would start killing each other and me before I could even get that door closed.
Now, heck.
Don't you heck me. You been talking to Buzz or somebody?
Buzz? I've only been in town 20 minutes. He must be grown up by now.
He'll be 25 in November, but he won't be around here much longer. He's clearing out. He's going east.
How far east?
Plenty far east. Vint, you know what he said? He told me to take my sheriff's badge and put it in my hat.
Buzz did?
What do you think of that? All these years I've been keeping peace in this town, figuring that he'd go on keeping it after I was gone. And he decides to run out on me and become a lawyer.
A lawyer?
You know, how do you like that? A lawyer when he could be sheriff after me just for the asking. I can't even talk to him anymore.
Somebody said he'd seen you ride into town, Mr. Bonner. It's good to see you again.
Buzz, holy smoke, boy, you're bigger than me.
He's bigger than his britches. You're all ready to walk out on me. Packed up and waiting on the stage.
Pop, I'm not walking out on you.
Then what do you call what you're doing?
You know what I'm doing. I've explained. Tried to, anyhow. Hasn't been a shooting here in over 2 years.
2 years?
Because I put the fear of the law on them. Because there ain't a man in this town don't know he's got me to answer to if he breaks the law. That's why there ain't been no shooting.
Well, it's not so, Pa. Because the people here have changed.
Changed? Seems that's all I've been hearing the last few weeks. What do you know about people? What people you ever seen except the ones right here in Quiet City?
Well, they're the ones who've changed. Pa, the country's growing up, and I want to grow with it.
Go on. Go east. Be a lawyer. And come back. Hang up your shingle. I'll even give you a room. But do you know who your clients will be? They'll be bums out of my jail. bums I put in there for shooting other bums. And you'll see.
You think you can still remember how to discharge them firearms of yours? Get your things together and come with me.
What are you talking about, Doc?
Out to Jace Norton's place. His hand just rode into town spouting dust a mile high.
What happened to Jace?
He's been shot.
Shot?
A hand says Joe Clapper done it. Says Jace is in pretty bad shape. I'm heading out there now. You want to come along with me in the rig or go on ahead?
Changed, have they? Respecting the law, are they? Well, go on. Go east and learn to be a lawyer. Maybe if you learn fast enough, you can take on Joe Clapper for your first client. So this is how the country has grown up, huh? Oh, I gotta laugh at you two. Honest, I gotta laugh. Oh, come on, Doc. I'll pace you out there.
You see how he is, Mr. Bonner? He won't listen. He won't give an inch. He'd rather there was still shooting and killing going on here in Quiet City. You know that?
You put that a little strong, Buzz.
Well, it's true. As long as people break the law, there's some use for him. The minute they begin abiding by it, he's not needed anymore. And don't you think he knows that? What's a man gonna do when he's not needed anymore?
That's a question we all have to answer for ourselves sooner or later. Say, didn't Norton used to have a place over by Tim Parker's uncle?
Well, he still has.
You reckon your father'd take it amiss if I rode over and offered to help?
I don't know, Mr. Bonner. I couldn't tell. You just saw how he is.
I'll see you later, Bud.
Yes, sir?
My name's Bonner. I came by
I
to...
recognize you, Mr. Bonner. Seen you around these parts some time back. I'm Abe Norton, Jace's brother.
Oh. How is Jace?
Dead. Leaving a wife and youngster and only a hard-scrabble farm to work. Dead over an argument over a fence and a couple of cows. Mighty high price to pay for a couple of loose boards come off a fence, wouldn't you say, Mr. Bonner?
Which way did Sheriff Partridge go?
North. He figured Joe might be making for that old abandoned trading post up there.
I'll ride over and see if there's anything I can do.
What can you do, Mr. Bonner? Repair the broken fence? It's a little bit late for that.
Joe Clapper, you come out. This is Sheriff Partridge.
It's me, Heck. Right behind you.
Come on over, Vin. Keep low.
I came by Jace's place.
Did you talk to Abe?
Yeah, I talked to him. You know what Clapper's packing?
Nothing but a 6-gun. Anybody there besides Abe?
No, I didn't see anyone.
I reckon he ain't had much time yet.
Time?
Everybody hereabouts like Jace. Nobody much cares of this Joe Clapper. Wouldn't take Abe half an hour to round up a dozen or more.
What for?
Necktie party?
You don't mean that.
Oh, don't I? Hold it. Hold it, Vin. Joe Clapper, I know where you're at. I know what you're packing. You don't stand a chance.
You want to close in?
No, he's still got some slugs left.
Well, the sooner he's out, the sooner we can take him.
All right, Vin. You go on around. I'll keep you covered.
On my way. Don't move. That means don't turn around or anything.
Who are you?
That's Bonner.
Bonner? What are you doing in these parts?
The main thing I'm doing right now is disarming you. Throw your gun away. Come on in, Heck.
Well, I guess it's all finished now.
That's just what it is, mister. Finished.
Drop your gun. Keep your hands in the air. But I always gave my gun. Shut up! I don't want any moves or fast talk from you. No. Turn around. Turn around slow. Turn around, I said!
But he's already disarmed, Heck.
All right, then. I'll take over from here. Now, put your hands behind your back.
But, Sheriff, I'm coming in peaceable.
No, you hear what I said? Hands behind your back. All right, Vint. Tie him up.
Do you think you need to?
All right, I'll do it myself. Don't you move, mister. Not a move, you hear me? Vint, grab up his gear. We gotta get out of here fast. This way, Vint.
Aren't you going to take him into Quiet City?
I said this way. We'll take the Crick Road. Cross her behind the jailhouse and sneak him in the back. I know Abe Norton has a man behind every tree along that road.
All right, Heck.
Give me your keys. Get that street door bolted and barred. Quick now. Come on. Now you get in there and keep quiet. Nothing's gonna happen to you, understand? Get in. You hear me say bolt that door?
Sure.
Reckon you'll have to stand with me a little longer, Vint.
What are you getting those for?
Protect our prisoner from mob action.
Heck, don't go imagining things.
I ain't imagining anything, Vint. I know this town. Should by now. Here, how about you, Mr.
Oh,
Lawyer?
do you mind telling me what all this is about?
What do you think it's about?
Lynch mob. Your pa thinks Norton's brother might be...
Think? I know. I know Abe, and I know what the people of this town felt about Jace. And I know what they feel about that no-good critter in there, too. And they're probably gathering together in the street right now, planning to break in here and take him away.
When was the last time you had a lynching in this town?
I don't care about the last time or the next time. There's not going to be a lynching here as long as I'm sheriff. Now, will you two stop arguing, and will you cover the back door? Buzz and I'll cover the front one. I got enough ammunition till Judge Wilson comes here on his circuit to cover them.
Oh, you're making this whole thing up. You haven't heard anyone say anything about a lynching.
Say anything? Why, you young fool, do you expect them to come in here and make an announcement? Don't you think I've been sheriff here long enough to know lynch fever when I see it?
Just what did you see, Heck?
I saw plenty. And I heard plenty, too.
Well, what? What's the harm in telling us, Pa?
I ain't a witness for your cross-examining, Mr. Lawyer.
But I was only asking, Pa.
I heard you asking. And you're asking an awful lot for a young squirt.
Mr. Bonner, you were out with him. Did you hear anyone say anything about a lynching?
You trying to make a liar out of your pa? Is that what you're trying to do? You flea-bitten young whippersnapper? What are you aiming to do, asking him whether I'm saying the truth? Why, you're still growing up and you're ready to go east, but I'm your pa, and I can whale the tar out of you any time I got the mind to. Now you keep your mouth shut until you're told to say something. Now take this gun and try to do something useful. Where are you going?
Out of here. For good.
For good is right. All right, then. I reckon you and me'll have to hold them off alone. You take the back, I'll take the front. Are you walking out on me, too?
Heck, come here a minute.
Huh?
Come here. You see any lynch mob out there?
do you call that?
What?
That.
Those two youngsters playing marbles? Those boys?
Youngsters. Boys. The son finally get you, Vin? What do you call that, a church dinner or something? No lynch mob, huh? I'll show you. Getting off the streets. I said getting off the streets. Every one of you. I aim to see you men dispersed and this street deserted by the time I count 3.
Mr. Partridge,
There'll be 1 or 2 of you lying dead in the ground. Now get off the streets.
Heck, for Pete's sake.
I know what you're after, Ed. I know why you come riding after me. You said you saw Jace. You said you talked to Abe. You joined up with him, didn't you, against me?
Heck, you know that's not true.
That's why you wanted us to ride down Main Street knowing that Abe was there with them, lynch ropes on their saddle horns. But you won't get him, Vint. None of you here will get him. Hear me now? I'm talking loud. I'm talking plain. You can understand me, can't you? None of you here will get Joe Clapper without killing me first. That's what I said. You'll have to kill me first. And if you try it, some of you won't be alive any longer than I will. I represent the law here, and I aim to uphold the law no matter what.
Pa, what are you doing?
Don't you come at me, Buzz. If you join them lynchers, Factor, my son won't help you one bit.
Hold it, Buzz. Don't get too close.
Any one of you think I still ain't sheriff around here? Let him take 1 step closer. Let him put out a hand to take Joe Clapper.
Nobody wants Clapper. Don't you see that?
I'm warning you, Vin. I'm warning all of you. Who was it said you didn't need a sheriff around here?
He's shooting at me. All of us, his own people. What's wrong with him?
That's hard to say, Buzz. Your dad was a tower of strength in the old days when he was needed. Nobody appreciates the idea of being thrown on the scrap heap, worn out, useless.
What do we do, Mr. Bonner?
I don't like the idea of him being alone. I'm going around back.
I'm going with you.
Come on.
You come with me. I'll go too, Sheriff. You stay put.
Now, just a moment. I want to see the Honorable Judge McGonagall. He's my lawyer.
What are you doing now? You want to get lynched? No, I want to keep you where I can see you all the time.
Stay on the line of fire, Buzz. I'm going in. I got you covered. Drop the rifle. I don't want to have to shoot, Heck.
That's the only way you'll get him, Vin.
Drop the rifle.
You'll have to kill me. Kill me, or get out of here, or get killed yourself. Now, Vin. Right now.
He means it, Vint. Look at him. Look at his eyes.
Get out of here, Buzz.
He shot at me once today. He'll shoot at anybody.
Move. I'm only giving you another minute.
You better listen to him, Vint. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
I think he does. He's been the sheriff here a long, long time. Go ahead, Heck. Pull that trigger if you think you can.
Why did you have to show up? It's all your fault. You had to come to Quiet City and kill everything for me. When you rode into town this morning, I was still sheriff. I was still a man. And now, I'm nothing. Nobody.
That's not true, Heck. You're still the sheriff here.
Sheriff, when lynch mobs are gathering outside with ropes in their hands and killing in their hearts, you call that being a sheriff?
That's not a lynch mob out there. And this is the first killing in over 2 years. Those people don't want Clapper. They're perfectly willing for him to stand trial.
And you believe that too, son?
It's true, Pa. It's not a mob out there. It couldn't be. You've made the law and the office of the sheriff in this town ideals we all look up to.
Well, why are you running out on it?
I'm not running out, Pa. It's just that there's no longer any need.
No need? Well, who'll be there to keep the peace and uphold the law?
The people out there. They'll uphold the law by respecting it. Pop, you've done your job. Give the rest of us a chance to live up to it and finish it for you.
I guess I've served my time. 37 years. That's long enough for a job to outwear any man. Especially an old codger who sees things that aren't there and who hears voices that exist only in his head.
That can happen to a lot of people.
But I ain't dead, Mint. What are you supposed to do when the job's all done, but you keep on living?
You're still sheriff. Till Buzz gets back, steps into your boots.
How is he, Mr. Bonner? I mean the sheriff in there. Is he going to be all right?
I think so.
He's been sheriff of Quiet City for almost 40 years. We wouldn't know what to do without him.
Now, what kind of a name is that for a town? Quiet City. Just doesn't sound reasonable somehow.
Well, the town council's open for suggestions, sir.
Why don't you call it Partridge?
Partridge.
Turn it over in your mind.
So this was Hornitas Town, a lily pure mining camp where nobody gets killed, robbed, or even roughed up. My friend Marshal Murray at Sacramento had asked me to look into the matter. This I had to see.
Buenos días, señor.
Buenos dias. Can I have some coffee?
Sí, señor.
Thank you.
Anything else, senores?
Just a check.
Look here, Miss Hobbs.
What now, Sheriff Riker?
You better tell that gal of yours to be nicer to the customers. The way she acts, she could ruin a man's appetite.
Well, I noticed that you all finished your breakfast.
Huh? Well, put them on my bill.
When are you going to pay up?
Pay up? Well, what do you call protection for your business? Well, you got law and order.
Sheriff, Joe Crockett's back in town.
He won't be for long. Out of town, Frank. Out of town.
Boss Cafe, senor?
No, thanks. Just a check. Tell me something about your boss.
Miss Amity? She's a very sensible young lady, senor. But she lived by the good book.
Good morning, Miss Amity. My name is Bonner.
Good morning. What can I do for you?
I'm a friend of Marshal Murray's in Sacramento. He asked me to drop by. How long has this been going on?
Too long. Some night somebody going to fix Sheriff Riedker.
Rosita, that is not the way of the Lord.
Madre mia, always the good book. She is one sweet angel, senor. But how are you going to fight Big Devil with one little angel?
Looks like what you need is a change in the office of sheriff. I think Marshal Murray would approve.
Rosita, watch the door.
See.
If you can help us, this is all yours.
Come again?
Well, there's $500 here contributed by the citizens and merchants of Hornitas, payable at my discretion.
You mean you want me to wrestle Hornitas from the devil?
Do you think you can help us?
Miss Amity, for $500, you just bought yourself a new angel.
Oh, just a moment. May I have your gun, please?
Huh?
Well, I don't hold with violence and bloodshed. It's against my principles.
Well, what have your principles got to do with my gun?
Oh, I'm afraid it must be expressly understood that you're not to kill any man, or even hurt any man except in your own self-defense.
Miss Amity, with me, it's always self-defense.
Well, just to make sure, and to guard you against temptation, leave your gun with me.
You want me to go out into that town without a gun?
The harder the victory, the greater the glory.
Oh.
Hey, may I say, the good book.
You hold it. I'd have swore I'd never do this even for my own mother.
I'm sure your mother would approve. You're a good boy, Mr. Bonner. Oh, would you be our guest at dinner?
Thank you, ma'am. Providing I'm still able to eat. Well, maybe she's got something, Scar. Maybe if a man used his brains, he wouldn't have to use bullets. Let's give it a try. What do you think you're bumping? Yeah. My mistake. Morning, Tony.
Oh. What's this I hear about how you beat up a man that comes to town to see the doctor? Maybe buy a few drinks afterwards.
Crockett asked for it. I already warned him to stay out of town.
And every time you do that, I lose a customer. Why do you have to be such a stupid ox?
Who you calling a stupid ox? If it wasn't for me...
Take your hands off me.
Listen, amigo. You run this saloon and your crooked card games. Don't you ever forget who runs this town. You're new here.
Yeah, just passing through.
I'm Sheriff Riker. Who are you?
My name's Bonner.
Now, you ain't related to Vint Bonner.
Never heard of him. My name's Joe Bonner.
Don't matter. I notice you ain't toting a gun. How come?
Well, let's just say it's moral principles.
Moral what?
Well, believe it or not, Sheriff Riker, there's some people that don't hold with toting a gun.
Yeah, well, back east they're safe, but you take a tough gold camp like Hornitas. Any man who can't protect his life and property, he better buy himself some protection.
Oh. And if he bought himself some protection, how much would it cost?
Well, I'll make you a special rate. Only $25 a day.
It's pretty special. Isn't it a little steep?
It's life insurance. For instance, if I was to get tough with you right now and pull a gun, was to tell you to take out your wallet, what would you do?
I'd take out my wallet. 25.
That's all.
Just a minute. Does this guarantee to protect me no matter what happens, or what trouble I get into?
Best protection money can buy. For the rest of the day. Oh, I forgot to mention. My day's over at sundown. Now, nights get real rough. Then we'll make a new deal.
You're pretty smart, Sheriff.
Smart enough.
I bet you play a good hand of poker.
No, I happen to have time for a few hands right now. Come on. Maybe you can win back your money.
All right.
Tony Molinar, Joe Bonner.
Mr. Molinar?
Mr. Bonner's interested in a little game.
Glad to have you, Mr. Bonner.
Much obliged.
That last card, Bonner. You dealt it from the bottom.
I always deal myself an ace from the bottom. Especially while I'm dealing with your marked deck.
Marked deck?
They're readers. Pick up your hand. You've got kings and jacks, a pair of each.
They are marked. How about it, Molinar?
I make a suggestion, Bonner. I suggest you give us back our money.
Nothing doing. Sheriff, how about my protection?
Till sundown, and the rate goes up. $100.
50?
75. Okay. Pick up your win.
I warn you.
Why don't you put that away before you hurt yourself?
Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Hold it! Some of that's my money. I want it.
Just because you bulled your way into a crooked poker game?
Come across, Chinhorn.
Sheriff.
All right, get him out of town. I don't want to see him around. Now, see how it paid to have protection?
Yeah, Sheriff, you got a nice system. Good organization, too. That sheriff of yours is as crooked as a corkscrew.
Fortunately, the saloon keeper's just as bad.
Fortunately.
Sure. Remember in the good book where it said the men of Gideon got their enemies to fighting among themselves?
And then just sat themselves down to watch the battle. But, wouldn't that be promoting violence?
Well, I don't recall reading where anyone was punished for using their brains. Not that I guarantee results.
Everything is possible, if you have faith.
Firearms have been known to help. Well, I admire your principles, but I'll try not to die for them.
Let that horse alone.
It's my horse.
It used to be. Belongs to Mr. Molinar now.
Glad to see you on the job, Sheriff. Arrest this man. He stole my horse.
You stole my money, I stole your horse. Now we're even.
I paid for protection for my life and property, didn't I, Sheriff?
I made a deal with you, but I don't recollect none with your horse.
What do you think of our sheriff now? Very efficient, isn't he?
Very efficient. For a double-crosser.
Fighting words, mister.
I want the protection I paid for.
You got it. At my expense.
I've had enough out of you. What's more, I'm fining you for disturbing the peace. That ought to do it. You ought to be glad to get that back. Now, there's a stage leaving for Sacramento at 4 o'clock. You better be on it. Now, make yourself scarce. Keep your trap shut. I'll find you, too.
Mr. Bonner, you're back very soon. Is there anything wrong?
Oh, nothing much. Just my horse has been stolen. I've been robbed, given the bum's rush, and I want my gun back.
You've forgotten our agreement.
Look, the sheriff called off his agreement with me, and I'm calling off mine with you. My gun, please?
Then you weren't sincere.
Miss Amity, I believe in the good book as much as the next fella. And I respect your principles. But they've taken my horse and all my gear and told me to get out of town on the 4 o'clock stage. So give me my gun.
All right. Your gun will go with you on the stage. In the express box.
For a lady who doesn't like violence, you're sure asking for a spanking.
Mr. Bonner, you would do well to remember the men of Gideon.
Miss Amity, Gideon. Hi, old timer. Look, I'll give you $50 for that equalizer.
$50?
That's right.
Sorry, son, but money can't buy it. In this camp, a man needs life insurance.
Man of Gideon.
Get out. Nobody's allowed in here.
I'm already in.
What do you want?
My horse? Don't get me wrong, I'm willing to pay. He left me a little over $200.
You value your horse very high.
Well, he's more than just transportation. He's more like my next of kin.
I wonder how my friend the sheriff would feel about me making a deal with you.
Your friend? Don't make me laugh. There's no love lost between you two. You don't like him any better than I do.
No, he's not a very likable fellow, but his fists, they command respect.
Not to me.
You're not afraid of him?
I'd take him on if I had a good reason.
Such as your horse?
That would be a good reason. Of course, I haven't got a gun. I'd need backing up. How about it?
All right, it's a deal. It's not very big. But I always hit the man I aim for.
You're catching that Sacramento stage right here. Now go sit down and wait for it. Keep an eye on him, boys.
Miss Amity, may I please have the package?
Just as soon as you get to Sacramento. It's addressed to you there, care of Marshal Murray.
But even David was allowed a slingshot.
It is written, he who lives by the sword shall perish by the sword.
For the last time.
It is no use, senor. To argue with her is to argue with a rock.
So right. She could be such a nice girl if she just weren't so blamed stubborn. Oh, look,
Bonner! What are you trying to do? Rob the lady?
Thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome, miss. Now sit there. Mind your manners. Mind. What are you looking so cheerful about?
Am I? About time for the stage, isn't it?
And that tin horn's gonna be on it.
What if he objects?
I'll put him on myself. In person.
It's an excellent idea.
Would you please put this in the express box for me right away? That should more than cover the charges. Keep the change. Thank you. Well, goodbye, Mr. Bonner. And peace go with you.
Thank you.
For how long?
Hey, you. Get a move on. Move. Okay, drag it away.
Oh, wait a minute, Sheriff. You wouldn't shoot an unarmed man. Not in front of all these people, anyway. Would you?
I'm gonna show you. After I get through with you, you're gonna be real sorry you ever came to Hornitas.
I know he's your duly elected sheriff, but as far as I'm concerned, he's a yellow-bellied skunk. The kind of a man who would hit a man when his back is turned. See what I mean? Here, I'll give you a hand. He's pretty awkward, too. Soft in the middle. Too much beer. You know better than to kick people. I bet you 2-1 he's got a glass jaw. Now, if you want to stay up when you stand up, you turn in that badge. He who lives by the sword.
Well, I'm glad you're early. You're going to have a really fine supper.
Well, I'm afraid I can't stay.
Oh?
Sheriff Riker's deputies just left town. You and the rest of the folks can go about the business of electing a new sheriff now.
Can't you stay and tell them yourself?
I have to catch up with my gun. That is, if it's all right with you.
But you will try and remember the men of Gideon.
I'll try, Miss Amity. But good doesn't always triumph over evil. Sometimes it needs a little extra push.
I know I gave you a hard task, but I can't change what I believe.
And like the leopard in the Bible, I guess I can't change my spots. You're a nice girl.
Madre mia, the best hombre you ever meet in all your days, and you let him get away. Go after him.
No, Rosita. He said it himself. He's not for me.
What's your horse, mister? Only a quarter.
Well, he's a smart animal, but he's never been known to untie a knot.
I wasn't thinking of that. It's the perils of natural phenomena.
The what?
Hailstorms, for instance. I could get him to shelter real quick.
Well, now, old-timer, when's the last time you had a hailstorm around these parts?
See now. Must be 10, 11 years.
Well, I'd say you're about due. Seems like a peaceful little town.
Peaceful as they come. Except for last Saturday's fracas. We haven't had a killing here in 5 years, ever since Sheriff Kropp went into office.
Well, judging by the sign outside, I don't see why you should object to a little trouble.
I suppose not. I just couldn't take no pleasure in burying Arnie Ledbetter. Nice young lad like that. Of course, Arnie should have known better than to throw down with Bonner in the first place.
Who? Easy, mister. I almost cut your ear off.
You sure you got your facts straight?
Well, sure. Going up against a man like Vin Bonner is just plain suicide. Here, you can read it yourself. Seen it happen. We're standing at the bar at the Ace High Saloon having a beer. Happened right in front of my eyes.
Give me a towel.
Yeah.
What was the fight about?
Well, nobody seemed to know it happened so fast. Arnie Ledbetter was a big, good-natured Swede. Sober, he'd had sense enough to be scared.
Was it a fair fight?
I used to have a little woman down in Wichita. Had a nasty habit of throwing cookware at me. Well, I didn't think it was fair that I should be a target for a frying pan. Then, on the other hand, She didn't think it was fair that I learned to duck so good. I guess fair is just a matter of your point of view. How would you like some of the finest turkey?
thanks.
How come nobody tried to stop the fight?
Mister, Arnie Ledbetter was a dead man the moment he got into that quarrel. There wasn't no power on earth could have saved him.
But why would a man like Bonner pick on a helpless drunk?
Well, if you want the answer to that question, you better ask Bonner.
I'll do that.
Interested in hearing the rest of it? What he didn't tell you? That gunman, that Bonner? He don't kill for pure pleasure. What he do, it's got to cost someone. Here he's out of town on a pay job right now.
You know who paid for Ledbetter's death?
You see Arnie's girl, Miss Evelyn Nemack. She has a millinery store. Ask her how come Arnie got himself all of a sudden dead. Yeah, that's her place. Mighty tidy possum, Miss Nemack.
Here, old timer. Register me in at the hotel. Take care of my horse, too.
I gotta put something on the register book. What name will I sign, mister?
Bint Bonner.
Mr. Beebe, I thought I made it clear I didn't want you hanging around this hotel lobby.
I'm not hanging around. I brought you a customer. Friend of mine. Wants your best room.
I don't see a customer.
You will, Mr. Dibler, soon enough.
Check. $1 a day. In advance.
Naturally.
Room 6. Head of the stairs. What's this, some kind of a joke?
And you, maybe.
Calloway, what does this mean?
Well, how do I know?
Well, you just better know. Look, you...
Later. I'll explain later.
You better explain. You've got a lot of explaining to do.
Oh, don't worry. It doesn't mean a thing. I'll take care of everything.
You're not wearing black.
But if you are, Bonner, then who was the other man?
That's what I'm here to find out. What are you running away from?
It's finished. This, whatever his name is, shot him. Arnie's dead. Why not leave it alone?
I have to find out why. I heard you could help me.
Do you think I'm beautiful?
Yes?
Arnie thought so, too.
Woman can't much help the way she looks.
No. No, but she can recognize her own power. And that's what beauty is, you know.
I know you're trying to tell me about Arnie's
Do
killing.
I have to spell it out for you? A man was paid. A hired killer. Paid to murder Arnie.
Paid by who?
Arnie was an ordinary sort of boy. Good, kind, but oh so ordinary. A letter came in the post today from Arnie's father. He's on his way here for the wedding. You're still wondering what I'm running from? How do you tell a man? Your son is dead. Because of me.
Who underwrote the killing?
I didn't mean anything by it. You've got to believe that much. I never dreamed it would end up this way. Oh. To evade compliments by a gentleman. A man of breeding and refinement. Do you know what that means to a girl in a town like this? It was something I needed. I was just being gracious. You wanted a name. Elston Dibler, the hotel owner.
Thank you.
You see why I'm not wearing black. It wouldn't be proper. Even now, I don't know that I really meant to marry Arnie. Maybe deep down, I was hoping, waiting for something. I don't know.
Kind of a drastic way to break an engagement.
There he is, Sheriff. Civic Reception Committee. That's him, Sheriff. Tell him.
When I need instructions from you, Calloway, I'll get in touch. What's your business in Grizzly Hill, mister?
I'm waiting for Vint Bonner.
I hear you call yourself Bonner.
That's why I'm waiting.
Well, there's two possibilities. A coincidence in names.
He's lying, Sheriff. There's only one Vint Bonner.
Well, that's the other possibility.
There's only one sure way to find out.
Not in my town. I don't care a particle who's the genuine Bonner. You boys want to decide the issue? Decide it somewhere else. And I want you out of town come sunup, mister. No ifs or buts.
You gonna do as he says?
What's the Sharpie got to do with it?
Calloway's found a steady meal ticket in that new boy of his. He sets up the action, gets a slice of the pie for his trouble.
Bonner? I don't wear a gun.
What's the going price of a lovesick young Swede on the hoof?
I want to make it clear I'm not going to fight you.
Of course not. A man of your breeding and refinement would find someone else to do his fighting for him. Stay where you are so I can keep my eye on you.
I don't know what she told you.
You know exactly what she told me.
Arnie Ledbetter was nothing to you. You didn't even know him.
I know him now. How much?
What?
How much?
It's $1,000.
If you want to fix blame, it was her fault. She led me on, played up to me. She's nothing but a cheap little flirt. I'm not going to fight you.
You may not have a choice. Someone used my name to kill a man for money. Before I leave tomorrow morning, I'm going to clean that up. Whatever it takes to do it.
Cost you another $1,000.
You dirty chiseler. You and that ringer. None of this would have happened if you hadn't palmed him off as Vint Bonner.
Oh, wait a minute. You wanted a professional. Someone whose reputation would guarantee the quality of his work. Well, there wasn't time for my boy to build up a trademark, so we borrowed Bonner's. Look, you got no beef. We delivered.
Yeah, trouble. A wagon load of trouble, and by rights it should all be yours.
Except for one thing. See, we don't have to stay in Grizzly Hill. You do. Still cost you another $1,000.
All right. But get it over with. Quick, no mistakes.
My boy will be here before morning.
You, on your feet. Take care of my horse, you.
Looks like you took care of him yourself. I wonder how you can still stand.
Where do I find Evelyn Emack? Well, where, I say?
Front Street, down from the hotel. You can't miss it.
You, Isabel.
No, don't say that. I didn't mean anything.
Against his father's wishes, my Arnie leaves the farm. Not yet 20 years old. I warned him. In the cities, I told him you will find women without souls. But he would not listen. I'd almost rather he was dead than married to such as you.
Don't say that. You don't understand.
I went by the graveyard. Nothing to show for 20 years but a wooden marker.
Stop it.
Where is he? This man who shot my Arnie. This Vint Bonner. Where is he?
He's not here. He's away someplace.
He will be back. When?
I don't know. Tomorrow, maybe the next day.
I can wait. To wait is all I have left.
What can I do for you?
I want a room.
$1 a day with breakfast. Sign here. I'll get your key.
Where is he?
What?
Vint Bonner. I want him. Is he here now in this hotel?
Well,
My name is Olaf Ledbetter. I come 200 miles to find the man who killed my son. You understand, mister?
Why didn't you say so in the first place? Bonner's in room 6, top of the stairs.
You stay where you are.
I wouldn't budge for anything in the world.
Today you won't sit over there. To take from me first my son, then my strength. Why? Why leave me anything at all? My life, take that too.
You're Arnie Ledbetter's father? I know what you're thinking, Mr. Ledbetter, but I didn't shoot your son.
You're Vint Bonner. I saw your name on the book.
Didn't he tell you downstairs?
He told me you were here, that is all.
I might have known. If you looked at the register, you'll notice when I signed in, today, 5 days after your son was killed. I wasn't anywhere near Grizzly Hill when it happened.
But,
You listen to me, Mr. Ledbetter. You knew who he wanted. You could have told him.
He had a gun on my side.
what's the good of all this talk? I know what to do.
You made a promise to me upstairs. We'd do it my way.
I, too, made a promise on my son's grave.
There's only one thing keeping you alive. That's a prejudice I have against shooting anyone in cold blood.
Well, gentlemen, he's here. He said to tell you that he'll be expecting you on the street, Mr. Bonner, in 5 minutes. If you're not there, he's coming after you.
I'll be there.
Your hand is hurt. You cannot fight. You wouldn't stand a chance. I go for the sheriff.
No.
Then I fight myself.
No, you stay here. Your chance may come soon enough.
You're left-handed?
No. But there's still one advantage in my favor.
What's that?
He took my name in the first place because he figured the reputation that went with it would throw a scare into the other fellow. Give him an edge. Now he's on the other end. He's up against the man whose name he took. There's a difference. I know. Kellaway already told me the news.
Well, anyway, you don't have to worry about the sheriff busting things up. I sent him out to loose scandals, chasing rustlers. What's the matter with your gun hand?
Nothing. You better get off the street, old fellow. Things are going to get rough around here.
Better start praying Bonner gets himself killed. If he don't, you're the next one he'll come gunning for.
You heard what he said. He wouldn't kill in cold blood.
You think his blood stays cold? You ever see a man's face after a gunfight? After he's had to kill?
I don't own a gun.
You think that makes any difference?
Figure this is the way to come by a reputation honestly?
You called it.
It won't be as easy as Ledbetter.
School keeps getting harder every day.
You're young. It's a rough school to flunk out of.
Mister, long as I'm wearing this, I don't have to worry about no diploma.
Bonner! Look out!
just as easily called myself Johnny Ringo.
Satisfied?
I thought it would help. It doesn't. He's just a boy himself.
I'm just leaving, Sheriff.
Had him saddled up an hour ago.
You had a lot of faith in me.
I still do. No charge.
Here at hand. Look at Bessie right down there. Look at that head. Look at that shoulders. Look at the flanks there. Now, come on. Do I hear 35? 35? Where's your sporting blood, gentlemen? What are you going to bid? Are you going to bid 35? Do I hear 35? Now, come on. Are you all through at $30 with 4.5 gallons of rich milk per day? $30 once? $30 twice? Sold to Vint Bonner for $30 right over there. All right, now, come on. Bring up the next item.
30 for Bessie and 300 for the herd, that right?
That's right. You sure do plan ahead, Vint.
What do you mean, plan ahead?
Oh, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, Vint, when you're, planning a little one.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm buying this herd for my boss, Sam Griffiths. I'm taking him back to the Double G tomorrow.
Oh, so you were just acting for Sam Griffith, huh?
Of course I was.
Now, Vint, look, I've known you a long time. There's no need to keep things secret. When a man's time comes, it just comes, doesn't it?
What do you mean, when a man's time comes?
Oh, you don't have to fool me. Now, come on. Congratulations, Vint.
Come on, Bessie.
Hear the news, Jonah?
Yeah, Vint Bonner finally got hooked.
What are you talking about?
Just a minute, mister, till I make this move. There, that'll hold you, Jonah. What do you want, Sonny?
Look, I just asked you.
Wait a
You
minute,
said-
wait. My move here. Now, what do you want to know?
I want to know about whatever this getting hooked means.
You're Bonner, ain't you?
Yes, I'm Bonner.
Well, we all got to go sometime.
Got to go where?
I don't mind him. That's just Jonah's way of saying congratulations.
Yeah, but congratulations on what?
When you got to jump, you got to take it. That's the rule.
All right. I know the rules.
Well, act like he did. Go on, take that jump.
Wait just a minute. I want to know about this getting hooked.
Just like Grant took Richmond. Congratulations, Bonner. You got what you went after, and she's a beauty.
She's a beauty. Oh, yeah. You mean the auction? Yeah, she's one of the nicest cows I've seen in a long time.
Cow?
Yeah. Sure hope she doesn't lose too much butterfat on that 100-mile walk back to the ranch.
Butterfat? He ain't gonna let that little girl walk 100 miles, is he?
Butterfat?
Hello there, Quint.
Hello, Bonner. If you're here about a news item, you're too late for this week's paper.
I'm not interested in any news item. I just dropped by to say hello and maybe pick up my mail if I've got any.
There's nothing here. Some letters went out for you in the post this morning. 6 letters, to be exact.
6 letters? Now, what 6 people in Powder Creek would be writing me?
Not 6. Just one, the same one. As if you didn't know. Writing you every day, like she's been doing all summer.
She? What are you talking about?
Now, look, I'm postmaster here, so you can spare me that blank look.
What do you want? Congratulations? All right, congratulations. I wish you two a very happy marriage. Now get out of here. I got a paper to get out.
Now, Clint, wait a minute. What's wrong with everybody in this town? Are they eating loco weed or something? I haven't had 2 letters in 6 months.
I am in no mood for playing games with you. Now get out of my way. I got work to do. Oh, excuse me, Doc. You'll find your mail in the lower bin.
What's your hurry? Flint Bonner. You know that you have a lot of well-wishers in Powder Creek, and I think it's high time you were putting down some roots. And Helen Rockwood is a lovely girl.
Helen Rockwood?
You just can't believe your good luck, huh?
Well, what's it all about, Doc?
Vint, this is a small town. Folks just sort of come down here and hang around while Quint sorts the mail. And a pretty girl like Helen ripping open your letters like she couldn't wait another minute. Smiling and blushing over them.
Excuse me, Doc.
Glad to see you.
Somebody might see us.
Oh, darling, who cares?
I care for one.
You've got a right.
Well,
You've got a right.
He?
Oh, Vint, I honestly think you're embarrassed.
Yeah, well, I'm embarrassed. I'm plenty embarrassed. Now, look, Helen, everybody that knows me knows I'm a loner.
What's a loner?
Well, a loner's a fellow who goes his own way alone. Well, not that I haven't thought of being married sometime, but not now, and not on the strength of some letters that I didn't write.
Oh, don't be shy, darling. They were such wonderful letters. I got 3 of them just this morning. That's what I was doing when you wrote up.
Yeah, well, what, writing letters?
Oh, no, reading yours. And rereading them and learning them by heart.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such a pleasant surprise, darling. Why didn't you tell me you were coming?
I did. Is your aunt home?
Aunt Minnie, no.
Yeah.
She went to town. We needed some things from the store.
Well, I should have met her. I wish I had.
Here they are, darling. Oh, but she'll be back any minute. Let's not waste any of these precious minutes together. Then even with all these wonderful letters, there's so many things I want to ask you. I want to know all about your childhood. I want to know all about your folks. I want to know...
Yeah, well, I better leave.
Leave?
Yeah, well, it just isn't right. Here we are in this house alone, you know.
Vint, that's just like you. You're everything that's fine and honorable.
I am, huh?
You remind me of those nights I used to read about when I was a little girl.
I do?
Oh, Vint, let's really get to know each other.
No. Now, Helen. Look, Helen. Now, look. I'm just an ordinary run-of-the-mill cowpoke. You built the man out of your imagination, out of a bunch of fairy tale books and a mess of mushy letters. Now, how many times have I seen you in the last 4 or 5 years? A couple of times, maybe.
You danced with me at the Crocker's barn raising.
Yeah, I danced with you one time. The one dance you didn't dance with Quint. Now, Helen, that's how I think of you, as a pretty girl. You're a very pretty girl. As a matter of fact, you're one of the prettiest girls in town. But...
Oh, sweetheart. Now who's building romantic dreams out of nothing? Your eyes are like the blue of a mountain pool with the sun shining on it. And your hair is like spun gold. And now, Vint, look at my eyes. They're not blue at all. They're greenish gray.
Yeah, they are.
And feel my hair. Now, that's not spun gold. It's just hair.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But Helen, we've got some things to talk about. Now, I've thought about marriage, and you're a pretty girl, and I'm no wooden cigar store Indian, that's a fact. But even if I'd thought about marriage, you're Quint Todd's girl, and he's a friend of mine.
I am not.
Well, you two were always together.
Oh, Vin, I was a child when Quint first started calling on me. I mean, he's nice enough looking, and he's intelligent.
Well, he's just a prince, that's all. He's one of the nicest fellas I ever saw, that's all.
Oh, he's not my prince, you are.
Helen. Look, Helen. Now, your Aunt Minnie raised you. She ought to know you. She ought to know you very well. And she's on Quint's side, isn't she?
Well, she did say that I was taking your letters a little too seriously. But now, Vin, Aunt Minnie's a very sweet person, but, well, she doesn't know anything about men at all. I mean, for 5 years, Quint has been taking me to hay rides and church socials and barn dances and things, just because he didn't have anybody else to take. And never once did he say anything like you said in your last letter. Oh, say it to me now, darling. I want to hear it in your own voice.
Listen, will you forget those letters? I'm still talking about old Quint. Now, I saw him this morning. He put every cent he had into that newspaper he's got. Every cent his father left him. I saw him ink up to his elbows, working like a dog. Now, a man can have a lot of poetry inside him, but he just hasn't got a chance to say it.
You said them. He didn't, but you did. Your waist is so small a man could span it with one hand. Oh, now, Vin, look at my waist. It's small, but it isn't that small.
Helen, I'm going back to town. Maybe I'll run into your aunt along the way. I hope I do. Because I've got something to say to her.
Oh, I can answer for her. The answer is yes.
You keep talking about those letters. Get me a paper and pen. I want to write you something.
Don't write it. Say it. Oh, you don't even have to say it.
Get 'em?
Oh, funny Vint. Masterful Vint. All right. I'll get them. But first... Oh! Oh! Darling, are you all right?
I'm all right.
Vint Bonner. I heard in town you were here, but...
I'm here.
So I see. You know, your little trip to Powder Creek kind of surprised everybody. We thought you were clear up Black Rock way, working for Sam Griffith. Oh, Helen, will you take these things
Yeah,
upstairs?
Helen, would you take those things upstairs? I want to talk to your aunt.
I'll see you later, dear.
Yes.
My, you're looking fine, Vint. Real fine.
Likewise.
Oh, what are you trying to do? Flatter an old woman? Well, now that you're here, we're going to hold on to you. My goodness, if I lay out money for a room in town, we'll just air out the spare bedroom and...
Auntie, the jig's up.
Up?
Up.
Oh, you know. Did you tell Helen?
No.
You going to?
No. You're going to.
She's a lovely girl, a real warm-hearted, fine girl. But the pretty looks, that's just the outer wrappings, like the husks on corn.
The outer wrappings are fine. Helen's a beauty.
Can't you understand? I just couldn't see her a-peeking and a-pining for Quint Todd, losing her youth, turning into a frosty old maid like me.
Minnie, how old is Helen anyway?
23 her next birthday. But a woman loses a bloom fast when she's got a lot of love to give and nobody to give it to. My sweetheart was killed at Shiloh.
There are plenty of marriage-minded men around, and she could have her pick of the lot up.
But it's not just any marriage I want for her, Vint. It's a happy marriage. Well, I want a man for Helen who'll be... Well, the fact is, Quint Todd's right for her. That's all I aim to do. Bring Quint to the boiling point, as it were.
Well, that's fine. That's just fine. But did you have to fry me on a hot griddle to do it?
Well, first off, Vint, I never knew you were coming to Powder Creek.
Oh.
Leastways, not until Quint and Helen were safely married.
Well, I'm in Powder Creek, and I'm in trouble. Minnie, how in the world did you ever figure this scheme out in the first place?
You know, it really wasn't too difficult. I've got a sister living over to Black Rock, right near the Double G. She's the postmistress. Well, anyway, she'd mail Helen's letters to you, back to me. And then
I've got it. Well, you must see that Helen's got to be told. And right now.
Oh, I suppose so.
You suppose so?
Well, I know it.
Only what?
Well, Quint showed signs of being shook up by those letters.
Well, Quint's got company. I'm a little shook up myself.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised, but the sight of the two of you together might be just the thing that would...
Minnie.
No?
No.
Not even for the little while you're in town?
Not even for 10 minutes.
Oh, all right, then. I'll tell Helen the whole truth. But it'll be a terrible blow to her.
Oh, nonsense, Minnie. She doesn't even know me. That paper-writing, cologne-smelling doll you invented, a real man could take his place in her dreams just like that.
Well, must I tell everybody in town? Does Quint have to know, too?
Well, just keep it among the three of us.
But everybody's expecting a wedding, and with you showing up...
Well, cheer up. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Oh, well, what'll she tell people?
Well, just let her say that she got a second look at me and she found out that we weren't fitted for each other.
Oh, nobody'd believe that.
Of course they will.
Never, never in the world. Why do you suppose I chose you to make Quint Todd jealous? You're a fine figure of a man, Vint Bonner.
Well,
a great catch.
Well, that's fine. You just tell Helen and I'll be on my way.
Well, aren't you even going to say goodbye to her?
No, Minnie. It's much better this way.
Well, no hard feelings.
No hard feelings. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Vint.
Hello, Vint.
Hello, Quint.
I'm glad I caught you. I want to apologize for my behavior this morning.
No apology necessary.
I came to a decision this morning. I'm selling the newspaper and pulling up stakes here. Well, once again, the very best to you and Helen.
Now look, Quint. You can't just go off and sell your newspaper, not until after you've run the news of Helen's marriage. Why don't you stay here a minute? I've got an idea. Aunt Minnie, come over here.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you talked to Helen yet?
No, not yet.
Good, I've got a better idea. Look, I have to go to town about an hour on business. I'll be back. In the meantime, why don't you pack us a lunch while my fiancé entertains Quint here?
Picnic lunch? I'd be glad to.
Sure, I thought the three of us, Quint and I and Helen, would go up to Willow Glen, have a little picnic.
Vint, that's very nice. You don't want me tagging along.
Oh, sure I do.
But you just got here. You and Helen haven't seen each other for a year.
Oh, we've got a lot of time to talk about things. A lot of time.
Well, hello, Quint.
Hello, Helen.
Helen, Aunt Minnie's going to fix us up a picnic lunch. We're going to ride out to Willow Glen. Just the three of us.
The three of us?
Sure. You and me and old Quint here. He wants to write something about the wedding, so I thought he might as well come along and work it out.
Oh, well, Vint, I could write the story up and give it to Quint later once we've made all our plans.
Now, you listen to me, you cute little heifer. We're getting married tomorrow. Quick and easy.
Tomorrow?
Sam wants me back at the ranch at the end of the week.
But I don't know if
I'll go fix the lunch.
Now, look, I've got to go to town about something. Now, tell you what. I'll meet you two at Willow Glen in exactly 2 hours. How's that?
Oh, but I don't know if that would look right.
Now, save it, will you, honey bunch? I'm late now.
You two planning to live up at the Double G?
I don't know. I guess so. But I mean, well, that depends on Vint. It doesn't really matter where we live, as long as we're together. Well, excuse me, Quint. I'd better go help Aunt Minnie with the lunch.
Old-timers in Powder Creek, there's only one really has the right to say, I belong here. His name now is George Washington Smith. When I met him first, it was running elk. How many kids you got now?
11.
George Washington, how would you like to own a first-class milk cow?
Always get sleepy right after I eat. Lose my appetite, too. Hey, what time is it?
10 minutes later than the last time you asked me.
Oh. Well, like I was saying, they don't have any accommodations for married folks out the Double G, so I guess she'll have to stay with her Aunt Minnie a while longer.
Well, wouldn't Mr. Griffith let you build a cabin for us?
Nope. You know, you are the cutest little heifer.
Vent, don't call me that.
Helen likes that highfalutin talk like hair like spun gold. Well, don't you worry, honey. When I get back to the ranch, I'll write you letters just full of that high-class talk. But a cowboy that's got a wife to worry about just ain't worth his salt.
Bonner, if that's the way you feel about it, why are you getting married?
Well, just love this little heifer. Can't live without her.
Well, if you love her, you got a funny way of showing it. You're not even ready to make a home for her. Before I felt I had the right to ask a girl to marry me, well, Helen deserves the best. She deserves a nice home, and she ought never to have to scrimp or worry about money.
Money and the things that money can buy are not important to a girl like me. I guess you just don't understand anything at all about me, do you, Quint?
I don't. Well, I know your hair isn't spun gold.
Oh, it isn't?
It certainly is not. Gold is hard and cold and dead. And your hair it's like the feathers on a bird. On a beautiful yellow bird. Bonner, can I talk to you a minute alone?
It's funny. I was just going to say the same thing to you. I'll be back in a minute. You cute little heifer.
All right, what do you want to say to me?
What time is it?
It's 4 o'clock. Now listen, Vint. I'm going to get a few $100s for the newspaper. I want you to take it and make a nice home for Helen here in Powder Creek.
Now, what would you give me the only money you've got in the world for? I don't think you even like me.
You're right. I don't. I think you're acting like a darn fool. But I happen to love Helen. Of course, I never felt I could tell her that before. And now she belongs to you. Will you listen to me, you big bonehead, when I'm talking to you? Don't worry, darling. I won't let him hurt you. Will you stop playing like a jackass? Come here and take care of Helen. I'll see if I can hold him off.
Hold it. That's only George Washington Smith and his family.
George Washington Smith?
They're having a big celebration out on the reservation. I ran into him in town.
Scared me to death.
Well, I hope I'm not marrying me a wife that's gonna spook at a mouse or some tame Indians.
You're not marrying me, then.
I'm not? Well, no, look, I was just joshing.
No, it was Quint that I ran to when I was silly enough to lose my head over that bunch of tame Indians.
Yeah, it's a fact. I wonder why I was right here.
I know why. I'm in love with Quint. I guess I always have been. I'm sorry that I led you on, Vint. I was lonely and my pride was hurt because I didn't think that Quint cared about me.
Cared about you? With all my heart.
Oh. Well, I wonder if you'd do something for me to kind of soften the blow. Hold the wedding this week. I'd like to come.
I thought you had to leave tomorrow.
Well, I did, but I changed my plans. I'm going to stay over for the next cattle auction. I gotta buy me a milk cow. Much obliged. Hair like the feathers of a yellow bird. Wasn't that? For close to 6 months, I'd been working at the Lonely Oak Ranch, lending my friend Jim Blackwell a hand. I don't generally stay in one place that long, but Jim had been sick. Real sick.
Afternoon, Ben.
Howdy, Sheriff.
How have you been? Hardly ever see you in town anymore.
Well, I don't get to town much since the old man's been under the weather.
Oh, yeah. How's old Jim feeling?
No better. And the doctor says he's not going to get any better.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Say, any sign of the Sacramento stage yet?
No, but ought to be along any minute. Why?
Jim Blackwell's daughter is on it.
Vint, what are you talking about? Jim doesn't have any family.
He did have a while back. Well, it was a long time ago when Jim was just a ranch hand. Only his wife didn't like ranches, so one day she packed up, took the youngster, and lit out for Sacramento.
How much do you figure old Blackwell is worth now?
He's got a fine herd of cattle, nice spread, and money in the bank.
Well, there's the stage.
Not much of a town, is it?
Not after a state capital.
Maybe you'll let me try and make it more interesting for you.
Now, that's an interesting offer. But someone's coming in to meet me, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell? I'm Vint Bonner.
Oh? Well, how do you do?
Well, I see you're in good hands. I'll say good day, Miss Blackwell.
Is he a friend of yours?
We met on the stagecoach.
I'll get your things.
How far is it to the ranch?
A mile and a half or so.
It's a quiet little town, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You weren't looking for excitement, were you?
No, Mr. Bonner. I wasn't looking for excitement. You're, my father's foreman, aren't you?
I've been working for him for a while.
For the last 6 months.
That's right. How did you know?
He wrote me about you. How is he? Any change?
No change. The doctor says he has a few more days.
I see.
I'll help you in the wagon. I was wondering when you're going to get around to asking about him.
I think that's being pretty hateful, Mr. Bonner.
Miss Blackwell, Jim's a friend of mine from a long time back. I just think he ought to know for certain who's coming to see him.
I'm his daughter.
So you said in the letter. But for 20 years, you didn't show much sign of it.
I didn't know where he was.
But now you know.
Look, I didn't come all the way up here to listen to a cowhand insult me.
I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm just being cautious.
Well, look, I'm Mary Blackwell, a legal heir, and I can prove it. And don't give me any trouble.
You'd be surprised how well I can take care of myself.
Jim.
You took long enough to get back.
I'm sorry, Jim.
But where is she? Did she get here? Is she? Oh. You look a lot like your ma. 20 years I had to wait to see you. 20 years.
I have a picture of my mother. Would you like to see it?
Oh, yes.
It was taken just before she died.
Yes. That's Janie. She was a fine-looking woman. Oh, Mary, Mary. I'm sorry about all those years.
I know. But we're together now.
Oh, I was sure glad to get your letter. I've been a lonely man, Mary.
I tried to find you before. I didn't know you'd settled down. Done so well.
Yes. We've got a lot to talk over, ain't we?
Yes.
Not much time to do it.
Oh. Now, don't talk that way.
Oh, but it's true. You don't have to get soft with me. I'm a tough, hard old man, Mary. Not easy to get along with at all. Your ma found that out.
Now, don't.
Patron, you must rest. Later you will talk.
Yeah. I'm all right. I'm all right.
I owe you an apology.
Yes, I guess you do.
I won't give you any more trouble. Hi, Sam. I think I'll take a drink.
Hello, Mr. Bonner.
I thought you were with Jim.
He fell asleep, so I saddled a horse and came on in.
Your place is out at the ranch right now.
You want me to stay there all the time? I talked to him all afternoon.
Bonner, the young lady and I are having a peaceable talk. Name's Steve Colby.
I know you, Colby. You're going home.
Listen, you big ox, you don't run my life, understand?
You're going home.
Hey!
Look, I said she's... I wouldn't do that.
Bonner, maybe you can boss those ranch hands around, but not me.
Keep your voice down.
I can take care of myself.
You're sure doing a great job of it. The first man you pick up with is a cheap outlaw that spent half his life in jail.
Steve Colby.
Now you go on upstairs and you get some sleep.
Vint, that you? Come in here.
Good night.
Jim, you know the doctor said you shouldn't smoke these.
Never mind the doctor. You tend to your own health. What's all the ruckus? You having trouble with that girl?
Well, she's a little tough, kind of headstrong. She's your daughter for sure.
My daughter. Is she the only girl that got off that stage this morning?
Why?
Why? Why, you thick-headed cowpoke. That's the wrong girl.
Are you sure?
No, she had me fooled for a while. But I've talked to her a lot more since. I've tripped her up on at least a dozen things, and she didn't even know it.
But the locket she showed you, that was a picture of your wife, wasn't it?
You're dang right it was, and that's what I'm worried about. How'd that girl come to get it? And what's she up to?
Jim, it's been a long time. She was just a child when you saw her last. You could be mistaken.
Who's mistaken? I tell you, that's the wrong girl. Now, look at here. You find out who she is. Oh, quiet down. Go on, son. Go on now. You find out who that girl is. Never get anything done here unless I do it myself.
In spite of what Jim had told me, the next morning I could tell it wasn't going to be easy to get at the truth. I tried to talk to the girl, but she was always busy. Busy being helpful. Jim tried to get something out of her, but she spent the whole day acting like a loving daughter. By the time I'd finished working around the ranch, she'd even decided to let up on me.
Mr. Bonner? Vint? Well, can't I call you Vint?
Sure.
I want to talk to you. You've been acting so strange today. So is my father. Could you tell me what it's all about?
We can talk later.
If you'd rather, but there seems so little time left, and I'd like my father to love me. If he can. You still don't trust me, do you? I don't want you to be cold toward me or distant. Not either of you. Can't you stay and talk?
I better go see Jim. How do you feel, Jim?
How do you think I feel?
Jim, are you still sure about that girl?
Yeah, surer than ever.
But she seems straight enough, and she even seems fond of you.
Fond of me? Well, anybody'd be fond of me to get this ranch. And I ain't very easy to get fond of. She ain't the right kind of girl. My wife was a lady, and her daughter'd be a lady. This one ain't no lady. Not clean through. Can't you tell?
Well, I thought she was a little strange, but...
She don't know enough of the facts, Bint, about Janie and about me.
Well, it's a long time, Jim. What facts could she know?
I used to hear from Janie. She'd write and tell me how things were going and what a fine town Sacramento was. Yeah. And then I got one letter. Said she'd met a man. Said she'd like to be set free.
Who was he?
Oh, an important lawyer. He was going to be a big man in the legislature one day. Then the last I ever heard from her was telling what a fine wedding they had. That's why I didn't try to get in touch with him again. I wanted her to be happy.
You shouldn't have lost touch with your daughter, Jim.
Oh, she had a lot more than I could give her. Stepfather in line to be governor, maybe. But Vint, this girl didn't know a thing about any of that. I'm worried. I'm afraid something's happened to my Mary.
Easy, Jim.
This woman has come here to get my money. And that money belongs to my Mary, not to that little fake.
You all right?
Yeah. Look, son, you got to find out the truth for me. How she knows what she does know, and how she got that picture.
All right, Jim.
And hurry. Yes, I guess you better hurry.
Miss Blackwell, you out here?
Right here, Vin.
I want to talk to you.
You stay right here. I'll come back as soon as I can. What is it? Is he?
He's just about the same. Who are you?
Who am I?
A man should know his own family. Jim Blackwell says you're no part of his.
So that's what's been eating him. And you too.
You're wasting my time. Who put you up to this?
Don't push her around, Bonner. Everything she told you is true. Now leave her alone.
Colby, from what I've heard of you, you're just the kind to try and swindle a dying old man.
It's not a swindle. She is Blackwell's daughter.
Why is it so hard for you to understand that? Because I'm not what you expected me to be. You want the truth. This is it. I hate every bone in my father's body. And I'm here to tell him so.
Then you are his daughter.
Oh, you bet your sweet life I am. His only kin, and before he dies, he's going to know it. What's so helpless about Jim Blackwell? To tell me that. All he's done for the last 20 years is get meaner and richer. The only thought he ever gave to his family was when he was on his dying bed and I wrote to him.
But you didn't need him. You had your stepfather to take care of you.
I never had any stepfather.
But Jim said your mother married a lawyer, a man who could have been governor of the state.
Governor of the state? Oh, Steve!
Take it easy, Mary. Janie Blackwell never married again. She died while working in a Sacramento saloon.
But the letters...
I don't know anything about what she wrote him. Maybe she was too proud to tell him the truth, but I'm not. My mother worked in a saloon, and she died in a saloon. That's all the Sacramento she ever knew. That's all I ever knew.
Satisfied, Mr. Bonner?
Colby, go on home.
What for? I'm the one who found Mary's father living here. It's as much my business as anybody's.
I said go on home.
Go on, Steve. I'll see you later.
Make sure you get what's coming to you. It's a lot of money, Mary. Don't get cut out of it.
Well, you still think Jim Blackwell needs protection, Mr. Bonner?
Mary, go upstairs.
Oh, no. Not until I tell him exactly what I've told you.
You can't do that.
No? Well, just why do you think I came to this miserable town?
Senor, the patron asked for you. He is very bad.
I'll be right with you.
Well, I'm going in there with you.
No, you're not. The reason he never got in touch with you is he believed those letters.
Senor!
He's been a lonely man.
Did you talk to her?
Yeah, Jim, I talked to her.
Well, what'd you find out?
Nothing for you to worry about,
Don't
Jim.
hedge with me, you big clodhead. Get her in here.
I'm here.
Come in here. We got some talking to do. Sit down.
You feel all right?
No, I'm weak. I'm old and weak, and I'll give out. But I can still talk a little.
I'll bet you can.
Oh, he told you, didn't he? I can see it in your eyes. He told you that I'm on to you.
Yes.
You ought to be proud of yourself. Leading me on to believe that you ain't no daughter of mine. Well, are you?
Jim, wait a minute.
I ain't got time to wait. My daughter was a lady. You ain't no lady. You're nothing but a fake.
You're right, Mr. Blackwell. I'm not your daughter.
Vince, you hear that?
It's true. I came here to trick you and to take your money.
How'd you know so much about me? Where'd you get that picture?
Oh, well, I knew your daughter. Yeah, she was a very good friend of mine. She gave it to me.
Well, then, you can give it to me, then. You've got no right to have it. You got no right to touch it. Get it off your neck. Where'd you know my Mary?
In Sacramento. She was a wonderful girl.
I bet there was nothing hard about her eyes.
That's right. She was a lady.
That's a fact. Did you know my Janie, too?
Yes, I knew your Janie, too. They were both wonderful people. Oh, you know the man that Janie married? Well, he was always very kind to them, to both of them. He was a very important lawyer.
Yes, that's right. She wrote and told me.
Then after Janie died, why, he took Mary to Europe, I think. Yeah, they're over there somewhere now, still living.
That's very far away. Well, if you hear from her, write her about me, will you?
Oh, sure.
And Vint, you see that my Mary gets my money.
Your daughter will get your money, Jim.
Yeah. You're not a very smart young woman, are you? To try to steal from an old man.
No, I guess you're right.
You didn't fool me. Not for long. So I guess I can forgive you.
Well, thank you.
Mary.
I've got to get out of here. Will you drive me into town, Vin?
That was a fine thing you did. It took a lot of courage.
I only told him what he wanted to hear, that's all. I'll get my things.
You could stay a while. It's your home.
Oh, no. Thank you, Vin, but there's a man waiting for me. The kind of man that I'm used to.
I'll get the buckboard.
Mary. It fell from his hand.
bears the name of Wild Horse Willie, rounding up wild Mustangs in South Texas, and then running and walking them clear to Nebraska can make you just a little weary. The payoff when we sold the Bronx was better than trail wages, but I promised myself I'd stick to riding herd for a while. Less fussing and less cussing and easier on the seat of my pants.
Sam Bass, he came from Indiana. It was his native state. He came clear out to Texas, and there he met his fate. Sam always drank good liquor and spent his money free, and a kind-hearted fella you seldom ever see.
Sounded pretty good.
You look about as frazzled as me, cowboy.
Well, that could be. Of course, I'm a mite drier.
Well, this ought to buck you up. Nothing like a shot of red eye. I was mighty pretty. Sorry you had to see that, friend. Makes it kind of embarrassing.
For you or for me?
Could be both, I reckon. Maybe you heard of me. Ben Reed. Busted out of Fort Lyon. The reward should be pretty sizable.
I heard of you.
You might be tempted to spoil a pleasant meeting of strangers for mere money. Me, I'd be more than tempted to stop you. Awful embarrassing.
I'm not a bounty hunter, if that's what you mean.
You know, I like your manner, friend. I take your word. Now, be on your way. I want to get this leg iron off. You said you're no bounty hunter. I say I never shot a man in the back. But what do we do?
Well, I wouldn't like to put temptation in your way, so suppose we do it this way. I think it's only fair to tell you that I feel duty-bound to report this to the first lawman I see.
Well, that's fair enough. I'll be in the next state.
The jail had changed. It looked more inviting than the hotel. Hey, Milt.
Well, if it ain't Vent Bonner, well, I'm a hung jury in the Pollock. How are you, boy?
Good, good. Say, this must be my day for meeting up with drinking men.
Well, am I glad to see you.
If I remember correctly, you were looking out from behind these same bars the last time I saw you, and that's more than a couple of years ago.
Well, now, as a matter of fact, that's the story of my life, either in front of the bars or behind them. I haven't missed more than 2 Saturday nights since I built the place.
You're living in style. Say, who fancied up the jail?
Oh, we got a brand new sheriff. He might need a few pointers here and there, but I'm telling you, in a fight, he's just as cool as a polecat in the moonlight. Why, you ought to have seen him tonight. Hey, is that you, Sheriff? Come back here. I want you to meet an old friend of mine, huh? Sheriff Billy, Vent Bonner.
Good to know you, Sheriff.
Well, pleased to meet you, Mr. Bonner.
Come along out of there, Milt.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Milt, why don't you try skipping next Saturday?
Well, Sheriff, you know I do try. That's my one virtue, you know. Well, come on, Vent. Thanks for the hospitality, Sheriff.
Sheriff, I ran into a drunk on a trail about 12 miles northeast of here. Said he'd just broken out of Fort Lyon. Called himself Ben Reed. We threw down on each other at the same time. It was a standoff. Peculiar kind of fellow. I don't know which way he was headed.
Well, I'll get a message off to Fort Lyon, see if I can get some information on him.
Thought I ought to tell you.
Mr. Bonner, I've heard quite a bit about you since I came to town. Folks say you cover a lot of territory.
I get around some.
Did you ever hear of a man named Blake Riddle?
Blake Riddle. Can't say as I have. Relative?
My father.
Supposed to be in this country somewhere?
No, not here in Cooper Springs. Somewhere in the territory.
You haven't heard from him lately, is that it?
No, I've never heard from him. I've never even seen him.
Tell me some more about it.
I was asking for information, not for help and sympathy, Mr. Bonner. Something strike you funny, mister?
Oh, don't mind my sitsa. You, my young friend. It's just that the sight of you wearing that star gives me that safe, good feeling.
Hi. You, like the flowers?
They're real pretty.
You acted so funny in church this morning, I wasn't sure whether you'd be here.
I'm sorry, Annie. I mean, that's the way it's always going to be. Till I do what I have to do. Believe me, I don't want to hurt you.
Don't you think I know that? The thing that hurts is to see what you're doing to yourself.
I got to keep looking for him. Till I know for sure where he is. How I made out. Well, after all, he's my father.
I can't fight against a ghost, darling.
I'll come back someday when I'm sure.
I can't promise I'll wait for that someday, Bill. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not a woman who'll do anything to get a man, any man, just because she'll never have another chance. This is hard to say, Bill, but there'll be somebody else that I can live with and respect and learn to love.
I can't help myself.
I'm sorry for you, then.
For both of us.
Ben, you haven't been paying much attention to me.
I'm sorry, old timer. I was just thinking.
Thinking. That's the way it starts with me every Friday night.
Matter of fact, I was thinking about that boy you got for a sheriff.
Yeah, you know, Vent, if I'm not mighty wrong, that boy's going to be moving on.
Well, it's only natural for a boy to want to know more about his father, especially if he's never seen him.
No, that boy belongs right here in this town and married up with Annie White.
He sure closed up tight on me. Do you know the story about his folks?
Well, it seems that his father brought his mother out west, and she was a delicate type. Pioneering was too rough on her. And just before Billy was born, she gave up, went back home. And after she died, Billy come out here. And then Billy was going through an old trunk of his mother's and found a letter from his daddy. In it, he said he planned to buy a ranch up in Nebraska, someplace. She never did answer that letter. No, it can't be. We don't have shooting scrapes in this town.
Bill? Be careful, please.
You got one now.
This is on me, Sheriff. Ben Reed. You hired me.
That's Ben Reed, the one I told you about.
Oh,
Fine. And I know right where to take him.
He may be drunk, but he's still dangerous.
Now let Ben help you, boy. You were new at this game.
Thanks. Thanks all the same.
Bring out your best, bartender. This might be my last fling, and I want all my old friends here to help me jubilate. Well, do like I say.
I'd take that gun, Mr. Reed.
Where'd you come from, Sonny? I saw you before, but I thought you was playing hooky from Sunday school.
I'm sheriff of this town, mister.
I thought I told you to pour that liquor. Put that bottle down.
Nobody here takes a drink till I put this man where he belongs. You under arrest, mister.
Oh, that's too bad. Most boys your age would like to think of all they got to live for. But maybe you're different.
Maybe I am.
Now, what's your name, Sonny? Oh, just for the record. I always like to know a man's name before there's any unpleasantness.
Riddle. Sheriff Bill Riddle. You gonna hand over that gun?
Well?
I know what you mean.
I never drink Sundays after I eat. That's my one virtue. But
I'll have one with you.
That's personal property. You got a right to the gun and the belt, but that there belongs to me. I'd be obliged if you'd hand it over.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He had it stuck in his gun belt. The only way I could find him was to meet up with him this way. Boy, this is sure my lucky day. There he is. A thief, outlaw, and a killer. My father. That's why I let me take him without lifting a finger. You said yourself he'd be too hard to take.
Look, boy, just because the man let you arrest him doesn't prove kinship. He could have come by this locket a number of ways.
I'm going to take him out on the prairie and let him go on his way. My mother must have seen something in him once. At least thought she did.
Where are you going, brother?
I won't be long. I'm going to go talk to Annie.
Now, don't do anything foolish. You belong in this town. Annie's just a gal for you. Now, listen to old Mill.
You sober?
Yeah, I'm sober.
Is he really your son, or is this just another out for you?
Yeah, I'm his father. Fine-looking boy, ain't he?
So you'd better start looking around for that somebody else you was talking about, Annie.
But the people will understand about your father, Bill. That you're doing what you think you have to.
They put their faith in me. No questions asked. I'm not letting them down. But I'm standing by my father.
But, Bill... I'll wait, or I'll join you anywhere you say. Oh, don't you understand?
Nope. What you said for makes a lot better sense. Bye, Annie.
Sam Bassey came from Indiana. It was his native state. He came clear out to Texas, and there
What do you suppose he got it?
Oh,
maybe he had it in his pocket.
Sam always drank good liquor and spent his money free.
Where'd he get the whiskey?
We were just wondering the same thing.
Did you give it to him, Milt?
No, honest to Pete, I didn't.
She gonna let your poor old man off easy, are you?
What are you talking about?
You ain't even dry behind the ears. The idea of a kid of mine being a sheriff, that's good for a laugh.
Keep talking.
I never thought a piece of junk I took off a dead man would cause such a fuss.
You explain that. What dead man?
Well, it was over the Whitetail, a town on the North Platte, about 10 years ago. Some folks over there got the idea that me and some other boys held up a bank. A safety committee came after us. There was a lot of shooting, and They pulled out fast. But they left 2 men dead. One of them was carrying a locket.
And you killed him?
Well, how should I know? There was a lot of shooting.
That locket wasn't worth much. Why would you steal it off a dead man?
No. It had a picture of a right pretty woman in it. I figured it was the rancher's wife. Well, I got the notion that I might drop by and see her sometime. I always had a way with the women. And she might get a little lonely.
That's enough. Kill him. Wouldn't help anything. At least, now you know. You gonna be all right?
Yep. Sure. I was a fool to let myself believe a man like that. We better get started for Fort Line. I'll get the horses.
You believe me?
I couldn't say I do. I knew about that robbery in Whitetail. It wasn't 10 years ago, it was more like 3 or 4.
You got a good memory.
And that posse that went out after you. They came back without firing a shot. I knew every man in it. There wasn't one named Little.
One thing is true, though.
What's that?
His father is dead. And I killed him.
What?
My wife left me. But she never answered my letters. That's when I killed the man his father was. Or whatever he hoped to be. That was when I crossed the line. That was when I became Ben Reed. That was the end of Blake Riddle.
But I'd say there's more of Blake Riddle here today than Ben Reed.
Thanks a lot, old friend. That helps. And like I said on the trail, I like your manner. I like it real well.
Mr. Bonner. You tell Annie I'll be back. Tell her why.
I'll tell her, Bill.
Thanks. Bill? In my desk drawer, there's a deputy badge. You put it on till I get back, yeah?
Me? Well, I can't even take care of myself.
Ain't nothing wrong with you, Milt. Not between Sunday and Friday, anyway.
Deputy, huh? I heard a saying one time. There's so much bad in the best of us and so much good in the worst of us that it ill behooves any of us to talk about the rest of us. Last couple of weeks, I'd helped the boys on the Circle 3 fight off an epidemic of blackleg. Now I was headed for town, looking forward to a quiet hotel room and 18 hours of unbroken sleep.
Hey, Vince.
Howdy, Sheriff.
I was just on my way out to Circle 3 to see you.
Oh? What for?
Well, there's a stranger in town asking for you. Now, maybe I'm getting old and careful, but...
Well, did you get his name?
Well, that's what's odd about it. He wouldn't give his name, where he was from, what he wanted, nothing.
What did he look like?
Well, he was a decent enough looking fella, but he was all tied up in knots, nervous, jumpy. He wears his gun close to his hand and loose in the holster.
A lot of the boys do that.
With a cartridge in the chamber right underneath the hammer?
Oh.
If you need me, I'll be out to 00 inspecting brands. See ya.
A pound of caution is worth an ounce of lead. Hi, Sam.
Howdy, Vent. Fella asking for you. Real jumpy.
Oh?
Look like a draw fighter.
Much obliged.
You bet, Vent.
Draw fighter or not, it was Friday night, and I was still going to get me a bath. I had a standing order for room 13 at the hotel every week.
Bonner?
Don't! What are you trying to do?
I didn't mean any harm.
You the one that's been asking for me?
I guess so. I'm Hank Wilson. I just came in from downstate. Heard you were here, and I asked for you.
Why?
Mr. Bonner, could you see your way to helping me? Giving me a hand? What I mean is, my life depends on it.
Your life?
This here's my room. Could you come in? It'll only take a minute to tell you.
All right. Sheriff Jay from Copper Springs is an old friend of mine.
That's why I wanted you to see his letter. Then it wouldn't be like a total stranger asking for help.
In other words, what you want me to do is to teach you how to use a gun.
How to use it better. And faster.
Why?
Because of a man named Kruger. Joe Kruger. Now, for almost a year, he's been hunting me. Trying to gun me down.
What's he got against you?
He isn't in his right mind. You see, I married the girl that he wanted. And then Alice died. It was having the baby that did it. Neither of them lived.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Kruger went wild. Said that I'd killed her. Said he's going to kill me if it was the last thing he ever did. Now, look, I've been running for a year. I got to face him. I can't just keep running for the rest of my life. Mr. Bonner, you got to help me now, please.
I don't believe in using a gun unless you have to. And I'm not interested in teaching somebody how to kill.
I don't want to kill anybody. I just want to be able to defend myself.
I guess we can do something about that. Here, put this on. Stand on the other side of the room. When I move my hand, throw on me. Not bad. You meet me at Logan's barn. That's an old barn on the other side of town, early tomorrow morning. We'll get in some practice. Meantime, get some rest.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Howdy, Sheriff.
Hey, man.
Check those brands out the 00?
I sure did. They weren't too bad. Needed a little unraveling is all. You find that man who was asking about you?
He found me. I was just talking to him.
No trouble, I hope.
I hope not.
You know anything about him?
Only that he comes highly recommended by Sheriff Jay up at Copper Springs.
Old Andy Jay?
Yeah.
Well, that ought to relieve the strain, Vent. With all these years, he can sure spot the difference between a straight brand and a cross.
Yeah. But it's not often I promise to make a gun hand out of a man.
A gun hand?
Yeah. There's a fella been gunning for him. A man named Kruger. I kind of like the kid. I told him I'd teach him how to protect himself.
Is the kid running away from this Kruger?
He was running. He's come to a dead end. He's tired of running. He wants to face up to it one way or another. All right with you?
Well, there's nothing wrong in teaching a man to defend himself. Look, Ben, after all, if old Andy J says a man's all right, chances are he is.
Yeah. It is a responsibility, though, putting a gun in a young fellow's hand. Anyway, I'm going to give him a few pointers out at Logan's barn tomorrow morning. That's in case you wonder what all the shooting's about.
All right. So long as nobody gets killed.
God darn it. Now, if I could shoot like that, boy, I'd be okay.
You will. You've got the eye, the control, the coordination. But let's start at the beginning. You're losing most of your time when you draw.
Well, now, that's what I've been practicing on.
Practicing the wrong way. The draw is composed fundamentally of three motions. First, the sweep back of the thumb, cocking the hammer. Second, the fingers grasp the butt of the gun and lift it clear of the holster. Third, you level the gun on the target.
Where was I taking too much time?
Well, partly in the first motion. You're holding your hand too far in front of your holster. Oh, the thumb's hitting the hammer all right. But you're moving your whole arm to do it. Why lift the whole arm load of muscle, bone, and nerve? Hold your hand close to your holster. Move only the thumb and hand. Like so. Try it.
All right. How's it?
That's pretty good. You could save a tenth of a second that way.
It's Kruger.
What made you think that was Kruger?
I'm sorry. I got Kruger on the mind. He's a heavier fella, and he's got a red sunburned face you can't miss, and he wears it sideburns Spanish style. What's next?
Well, it's back to the circle 3 for me. What you need now is practice, lots of it. 6, maybe 8 hours a day, till it's impossible for your thumb to miss that hammer.
I'll make it 10 hours a day if I have to.
After that, we'll see what else we can do. I'll see you next Friday.
Goodbye, Mr. Barney.
You going into town, Ben?
Well, it's Friday, isn't it?
Say, you remember that Wilson fella you was telling me about? The man was trying to hunt him down?
Oh, Kruger.
Ran into a fella over at Daggett's. Caught my ear when I heard him ask if anybody'd seen a fella named Wilson.
What did he look like?
Well, he had long, Spanish-like sideburns and...
Is he still there?
Well, he's looking for a job. They didn't have any open. Last I saw, he's headed into town. That's a couple hours ago.
I better get over there fast. I knew I had to reach Wilson before Kruger did. That'll teach me to go barging into other people's rooms.
I've been practicing almost 10 hours a day. How'd that look?
Look good. You're doing better.
Thanks to you, Vin.
I guess you haven't heard the news.
What news?
Kruger's been seen around, out by Daggett's ranch.
Nobody knows my right name but you and the sheriff. I told them you were helping me, too.
Did you sign the hotel register?
I used another name.
Who is it?
Sheriff Landers.
Well, come on in.
Well, hello, Vin. I didn't know you was here.
What's wrong, Sheriff?
I got some news for you about Kruger.
What are we going to do, Vint?
Now, it ain't all bad news. He was in town, and he was asking for you. But I told him that you'd been here and gone, that you was riding north.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thanks very much.
You sure he left?
Well, he was packing the bedroll.
Yeah, but did you see him leave?
He heard the sheriff. He said he was heading north.
He'll be back. You got to help me, Vint. You can't stop now. You got to make me even faster. As fast as you. Don't you see, that's my only chance.
Nothing was heard of Kruger for the next 2 weeks. During that time, Wilson must have used up 50 pounds of lead in every tin can and Twin Forks. But his practice had brought results.
You stood me off again.
Yeah, but you hit it first, and that's what really counts.
Hank, I think you're ready to save another 1/10 of a second on your draw.
How?
Load 'em. In genuine firing from the hip, the eye looks at the target and signals the muscles of the hand where to point the gun. Just how the eye signals this information to the hand, I don't know, but it does. Now watch.
Well, how does that help?
You're already doing it, but you're making one mistake. Point your gun. You're raising your gun too high. You're waiting till you can see it before you fire.
You mean that takes more time?
More time than if you fired from down here without having to see your gun. Now try it.
All right. I did it!
Sure. A little more practice and you'll be saving 2/10 of a second on your draw. Important time because it's on the shot that counts. The first one.
Hey, Vint, aren't you going to stay and watch me for a while?
No, I got a date with the sheriff.
The sheriff? Say, has he found out anything? You're not hiding something from me, are you, Vint?
No, boy. You just keep practicing.
Goodbye, Vint.
I didn't want to tell Hank, but my date with the sheriff was to go see Joe Kruger. We'd heard that he was working at one of the line corrals about 5 miles north of town. Our idea was to tell him we knew about his intentions, and for him to get out of the county and stay out.
Howdy.
Man by the name of Kruger working here, ain't they?
That's right. You got something against him?
Just want to talk to him.
Well, I'm Kruger.
You the only Kruger around here?
Yep.
How about on the ranch?
I'm the only one.
Sorry. Wrong Kruger.
Now, how about that?
It's an honest mistake, Sheriff.
Say, I wonder what young Hank Wilson was doing out this way.
You saw him out this way?
Well, my deputy did, just about an hour before we started. Said he was really pounding leather. Here all the time, I'm thinking this kid's too scared ever to leave town.
I thought the same thing. This is called softening the mainspring. When you cock the hammer, it bends the mainspring. The softer the mainspring, the easier and quicker it is to get the hammer back. Like mine. And it can save you 1/20 of a second on your draw.
I've already saved 2/10 of a second. That'd make me almost 1/4 of a second faster than before.
That's faster than 9 out of 10 men. Here, work on it. Work on it till it's good and soft.
Then I'll be faster than Kruger.
Well, let's say you'll be fast enough to protect yourself.
Maybe even as fast as you.
Maybe.
Remember the other day you couldn't even hit the can over the line.
That's right.
Why, with this spring softened up, I bet I could take you.
Hank, overconfidence could set you up for Kruger's gun. Overconfidence can get you killed. I'll tell you one thing I didn't do when I was learning to shoot. I didn't spend my time riding around the countryside.
Who's riding?
The sheriff's deputy saw you north of town this afternoon.
That's a lie.
You've got friends in this town, boy. That's a good way to lose them.
Friends. In this country, a man's only got one friend. This one.
I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to prove to you you're not quite as good as you think you are. You meet me at the barn tomorrow morning. Bring some tin cans.
You sure taught me good.
Let's try the last can. I'll wait for your move. That's 3 out of 3 for you. You're a dead shot.
Yeah, but you hit it first every time.
That's true, and it's the first shot that counts.
I know why you're beating me to the first shot. We're firing down. Now, if we were firing level, it'll be different.
Let's try with this one. You stand over there. When I drop this can, you draw and hit as fast as you can.
Anytime.
Now, you do the same for me. Anytime.
Well, I guess all I've been doing is shooting off my mouth. You're right. I'm not as fast as I thought I was. Maybe it's because I'm still afraid of him.
Let's see if we can put some of that confidence back by eliminating the blink.
The blink?
Something I've noticed about you right from the start. Just before you get off your first shot, you blink. That's costing you the difference between hitting the can here or here. A difference you might need.
Well, I could feel myself blink then. Well, that's what it is. Can I try it again, then?
All right. Ready?
I didn't blink! Well, thanks, Vin. Vin, about the other afternoon.
Yeah?
I'm sorry I lied, but it was me the deputy saw riding out to the Rockin' J.
Oh.
Vin, do me one more favor?
I've taught you all I can, Hank.
I mean, would you ride out to the Rockin' J Ranch with me? Right now.
What for?
It's just one last favor, Vin. Please.
What were you doing over at the Rockin' J yesterday?
I'll show you that when we get there. Come on!
All right.
Now, you wait here, Vin. I'll just be a minute. Now, don't you go away, Vince, because I got something to show you. Come on, Pappy.
Hi. Can I help you? Well, I'm just waiting for a friend. What happened to Pappy here?
Oh, stepped in the chuck hole.
But it weren't his fault, though.
He never went down, no, sir. He's always treated me like fine china.
Kruger!
I'm ready for you, Kruger.
Get along, Pappy. You might get hurt.
Go on, get!
Kruger! How come you shaved off your sideburns? You think I wouldn't recognize you? You're gonna die, just as sure as you made her die. Alice was my girl until you took her. She would have married me if you hadn't stolen her. She married you. And you killed her. Now throw her.
It was you, not Wilson. She was my wife. When she died, Wilson thought I killed her.
I'm a-waiting.
And he's been hunting you. He's talked about it. Made threats. But he's never had the guts to draw. Those I'm too fast for.
I'm giving you first move.
He's too fast for you now. I know. Now I can take him. Move away. He'll kill you.
You knew Alice was in love with me. That's why you stole her.
I didn't have to. Not from you, anyway.
Or maybe you gave her your name. But it was me.
Don't push me, Wilson.
It's true. Only now she can't tell you because she's dead. Now get set, Kruger. Make a move.
Don't move.
He'll shoot me down. You give him back his gun.
Wilson, I made you a gun hand.
You got no more chance against me than he has.
And I'll unmake you.
You said I was faster.
Move away.
You're robbing me like he robbed me of her.
Move away.
I'm going to kill you. And then I'm going to kill him.
That letter you showed me from Sheriff J at Copper Springs, where'd you get it?
I forged that. I figured you would do almost anything for your dear friend Sheriff J.
It looks like I'm going to have to do just one more thing. I've never seen anything faster. Except for the blink of an eye, a hand is quicker.
Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Will you get up? I knew darn well I should have gotten a lady mule. Will you get up?
How do you do, ma'am? Looks like you got some trouble. Give you a hand?
Young man, if you can get this consarn male mule up on his 4 feet, I'll give you $1.
Well, never mind that. Let's see what we can do. Just needed a little encouragement and understanding.
Well, here you are, young man.
I just got paid, ma'am.
I said I'd pay you, now take it.
All right. Say, maybe you could use a couple of matches, just in case. Aren't you a little afraid out here all by yourself?
Of course not.
One lone woman.
Young man, I can take care of myself as good as any man that ever lived. And besides, if I did get into any trouble, I know how to handle this.
I believe you.
Sounds of the rude world heard through the day, lulled by the moonlight, have all passed away. Beautiful dreamer.
What's the town council going to do? Something's got to be done, and done fast.
Now, we're working on it, Mr. Black.
Joe, hear what you done to Pineville? My brother wrote to me. It was awful.
Yes, I know it was, but the... Hey, Vince!
Oh, hi there, Mr. Mayor. You men look like you got trouble.
That we have.
What's the matter? Did the Apaches break out of the reservation?
Well, it's worse than that. A lot worse.
What is it then?
A new kind of woman.
You mean a woman's the cause of all these long faces?
Well, it ain't funny. She just about wrecked Pineville.
What kind of a woman is this?
Well, she's something called a suffragette. Back east, these women clubs are campaigning for the rights of females. They say not only should they have the right to vote, but they should have equal rights with men in the home.
That's right. They're swarming all over the east like grasshoppers. My brother wrote to me from Pineville. He said one of them just left there was headed this way.
Well, what does she do?
Confuse the women folk.
By filling them with fancy ideas.
How does she do that?
By lying to them. Telling them they are just as good as men.
And now they should have the votes. Now, can you imagine what would happen to this country if women could vote? Here, Vin, look at this poster.
Ladies, are you your husband's mate or slave? Hear the word of Susan B. Anthony, Emma Burt Speaker, Town Hall today.
Uh-oh. Here she comes.
It's too late. See what I mean, Vince?
You can't tell me a little woman like that can cause much trouble.
Now, look here. Maybe you could help us. All of us here are married men, but you're a bachelor. Now, you must be pretty smart with women who've stayed that way that long.
I can't help it. She's not breaking any laws.
What do you mean you can't?
I came here to get some rest, and that's what I'm gonna get.
But, Vin...
If you'll take my advice, you'll just leave her be. Unless she breaks the law, that is.
courting us, they talk mighty sweet talk. But as soon as we promise to love, honor, and obey them, well, they give their cattle more privileges than their women. How many of you are killing yourself? How many of you lie awake half the night worrying while that man cavorts in the saloon, gorging himself on strong drink? Ladies, we have suffered too long, but the day is at hand.
Here you are.
You say there's nothing going on in there, then why don't you do it?
Because you're the sheriff and it's your duty.
That's right. You took an oath to defend us. Now live up to it, Dratton.
United, we shall have the vote and equal rights and our freedom.
Dratton, what are you doing in here?
Now, Amy, this here's official business.
Official business?
Ma'am, the town council has just passed a new ordinance. Meetings of more than 5 ladies at a time is against the law.
What?
It's the law, Amy.
They have no right to do
Ladies, take your seats, please. Sit down, ladies. What? This is exactly what I was talking about.
You never saw so many wet hens. The way those women piled out of there. And you did it, son. Yes, sirree. You showed us how to get rid of that woman.
I did. I did?
Sure. You said leave her be unless she breaks the law. So we made a law and she broke it.
Come on, get your clothes on, boy.
Oh, wait a minute.
Now, look, I want to get some rest. We're going to give you the best celebration dinner a man ever had. Come on, Duchess. Come on. Come on, Duchess. Come on, Vin. Come on in, Vince. You make yourself comfortable. I'll tell her we're here.
Thank you.
Hello, Vin.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Mercer.
It's been a long time.
That it has.
Woman, where's our supper? Well, don't you recollect that I told you I was bringing Vin home?
Yeah, I remember. I'm sorry for you, Vint.
Sorry for him? Why?
'Cause I ain't cooking your supper tonight.
You ain't what?
Cooking. Tonight or no time. Till you treat me better than you do that pesky dog.
You see, Vince? You see what I told you about that woman?
Miss Birch, if you please. If she hadn't come and opened my eyes, I'd have gone through life just being a slave.
Well, we'll go someplace we're more welcome. Come on, Vince. Woman, you're gonna regret the day you ever heard of Emma Birch.
Goodbye, Miss Mercer.
Come on, Vince.
And you stay out of here. And don't you expect me to do one blessed thing for you until you're ready to give me the respect I deserve. You hear, Henry Peabody?
Yes, I hear. Just you wait. We'll show that woman up.
You leave her be if you know what's good for you. Now get!
Just like the old days.
And Emma Birch really made this place come to life.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Come on, boy. Have a drink.
I got a thirst.
First drinks on the house tonight, boys. How's the food here, Mr. Mayor?
Food? Well, it's not as good as Martin's, but who needs food, eh?
Why, Mr. Mayor, it's sure an unexpected pleasure to see you.
Sure is.
Little Peabody, where you been keeping yourself?
Well, Annie, you know...
What's the matter? Don't you like me anymore?
Sure he does, more than ever. Don't you, Peabody?
That's right. Who needs wives?
Have another drink, boys.
I'm certainly glad you boys have come back to where you're appreciated. Mr. Bonner, I will get Lucy for you.
Ladies, I want a word with you.
Who is it?
It's me, Vince. Pete Mercer.
Oh, no. The door's open. Come in. What do you want?
Vince, you gotta let me stay with you.
Why?
She put me out.
Who put you out?
Martha, what do you think? When I got home from the fat dog, she said my place was out in the barn with the other animals. Now I ask you.
What did you do?
Nothing. I didn't even breathe on her. Hope you don't mind my sharing a room with you.
I certainly do mind. Just because you men can't handle one little woman, I'm thinking of joining a cattle drive just to get some rest. Now you go downstairs and get yourself a room of your own.
Well, I can't. Ain't a single room left in the whole town.
You mean she told all the wives to...
Yeah.
And they did?
You said she wasn't dangerous.
The next morning, I decided to take a look around the town. You know, there wasn't hardly a man to be seen anywhere.
Ben!
Hello, Henry. Say, where are all the men?
Well, where do you think? Doing chores.
Doing what?
Yeah. The fool female said they wouldn't lift a hand until we gave them their equal rights. Well, we'll show them, by golly. There's nothing to do in a few simple chores.
To you for a moment.
Sure.
Mr. Bonner, the girls from the Fat Dog asked me to come to you.
What about?
About this equal rights business and Miss Birch. Well, she wants us to join up with the ladies of the town. Even go out to their headquarters.
Well, when Miss Birch talks about equal rights, I don't think she means just the married women. Why don't a couple of you girls go out and see if she means it?
I guess we could. Thanks, Mr. Bonner.
Now, just what is it you want me to do?
Oh, now, Vin, it ain't like we were asking you to do anything illegal.
All we want you to do is to go out there and ask her how much she'll take to leave town.
You mean offer her a bribe?
Well, what's wrong with that? Yeah, the boys are losing money by having to stay home and do the women's chores, aren't you, boys?
That's right. That's right.
So it'll be cheaper to pay her off.
Well, I don't think it'll do any good, but I'll try.
All right, Mr. Bonner, let's hear it.
Well, Miss Birch.
Well, sit down, young man.
Well,
What do those men think they have to offer?
Well, Miss Birch, this is not my idea. But they want to know how much you'd take to leave town.
Mr. Bonner, the last time I was made that offer, the man left town.
Oh.
It was my second husband. Surprised to learn I've been married, Mr. Bonner?
Yes, ma'am, a little. Seeing as how you feel about men.
I don't feel any way about you men. What I'm against is the way you treat us women. We're not lackeys. We want respect.
No.
You've got to start treating us as...
Miss Birch, don't go on at me. I'm neutral.
How can you be neutral? You're a man, aren't you?
Well, yes, ma'am, but, you see, I've never been married.
You a coward?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, Emma, but we're ready to start.
I'll be right there, Martha. Mr. Bonner... Mr. Bonner, you tell those old fools that I'm not dealing with any bachelor. If they want to hear my terms, I'll see them at the meeting hall tomorrow noon.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, of all the low-down nerve. Well, if she thinks we're going to show up at that town hall, she's almighty mistaken.
Did you say what would happen if we didn't show up?
Well, she did say that if you didn't, why, it would be another week before she'd think of making a deal.
What?
That's what she said.
Well, it's against nature. That's what it is. It's against nature, isn't it?
Right.
We should never have come here in the... I told you it was a mistake.
Gentlemen. Gentlemen. Ladies. If any of you men are thinking of making peace with your woman, well, you just better listen. Mr. Bonner, since you are neutral, would you mind officiating?
No, ma'am. This is a proposition set forth by these ladies here. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. And that men and women are endowed with certain inalienable rights. And those grievances set forth by the women of Roan Horse shall be recognized, and each husband shall sign a pledge swearing to correct his faults.
Pledges? Faults? What faults we got?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Bonner's a traitor. Worse than that. He's a bachelor.
Hey, I thought you were on our side.
What's the matter with you?
Ladies, would each of you state the grievance you have against your man? Mrs. Peabody.
Spitting on the floor. Always missing the cuspidor.
I hit it half the time.
Belching at the supper table.
Well, I want him to stop kissing the dog and start kissing me.
These are the pledges. If you men accept these conditions, you'll sign.
Never. We ain't signing nothing. That's right. What do you think we are, sheep? I'm getting out of here. Come on, boys.
Well, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, you're,
I thought you're on our side.
You're not gonna sign, huh, boys?
Course not.
Certainly no. No, indeed.
Well, you're the mayor, Pete. We'll do as you say.
What do you mean you'll do as I say? Ain't you got gumption enough to walk out of here alone?
Oh, Henry, can I talk to you for a minute alone?
Excuse me.
Why, you lily-livered...
John.
Ralphie.
Well, Mayor, looks like it's gonna be a long, cold winter for us. Not for them, huh? Let's have some dinner.
Just a minute, Vint. You got a pencil?
Just happen to have one here.
Mr. Bonner.
Oh, yes, Miss Birch. Well, I guess you did what you came here to do. Of course, I can't rightly say I think the men are going to get used to the new order very quickly.
There's nothing like a marriage that's based on an equal partnership.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Tell me something, Mr. Bonner.
Yes, ma'am.
Why are you still a bachelor?
Well, Miss Birch, I just,
Oh, come on now. You ought to settle
Birch,
down.
that's
I've got
fine.
the loveliest daughter back
You
east,
have.
just
Well, Miss Birch,
22. Oh, she's a fine
got a
girl.
horse.
A fine girl. Fine character. She takes after me, Mr. Bonner. I raised her myself. You go, Mr. Bonner. She's a lovely girl. Mr. Bonner, where are you going? Mr. Bonner, come back here. Come back. Don't be a coward. It's the only natural thing to do.
Fletcherville wasn't any gay Paris or anything, but coming off the range, it was buildings and people. Things I'd begun to miss. It was other things, too. Wanted. Dead or alive, Billy Sparks, for murder and mayhem. Well, guess that came along with the town, along with buildings and people.
Get out of here!
Tough, aren't you? Pushing a woman around, that takes some real men.
You're not wanted around this town, Mrs. Sparks. It's time you understood that.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Sparks, but you stay away. All you bring is trouble. Your own Paul won't lift a hand to help you. I can't help you no more, Mrs. Sparks. I can't help you no more either. You're big, brave men, when all you have to fight are women and boys.
Helen Bricker.
You do remember me, don't you?
Vin Bonner.
That's right.
Thanks for speaking to me, Vin.
Thanks for speaking. As bad as all that?
You just saw. Good citizens of Fletcherville don't waste words on Billy Sparks' wife. They won't like the idea of you talking to me either.
You don't think I'd let that bother me, do you?
Maybe it should. You just saw what they did to poor Tommy.
Where are you living now?
Cabin out at the end of town. Was the one my father built when I was a girl, remember?
By the way, how is Strad?
That was him you just saw right off on the horse. It's the first time I've seen him myself since I came back to Fletcherville. He sent word that I could use the cabin. No one was living there anyway. But I wasn't to come near his home or see him for as long as I live. Get up.
Vin Bonner, aren't you?
That's right.
You a friend of Helen's?
I know the Bricker family.
You know Billy Sparks?
I've heard of him. You'd be Dave Fletcher's son.
I was. Before Billy Sparks killed him. Any news yet?
Not yet, Mr. Fletcher. Jim, what's going on?
Come on inside, man. Dave Fletcher built this town, Vent. Ain't a man, woman, or child in Fletcherville who isn't beholden to him. Billy Sparks shot him down in cold blood.
That explains the poster.
That was over a year ago. Billy held up his bank, that's when it happened. Well, they just caught him a couple of months ago in Junction City. That's where Sheriff Ritter is.
When's the hanging supposed to take place?
This week sometime. The date ain't certain yet. See if you got any mail. No mail, Vince, sorry.
Well, I didn't really expect any. Helen Bricker. I hardly recognized her. And I didn't know her father.
Well, Strad ain't never really been the same. Not since she married Billy. Strad disowned her. That's all there is left of the Brickers, just a father and a daughter. Not one word spoken between them in 7 years.
That's too bad. Well, I'm going to be in town a couple of days. I'll drop by later for my mail.
Now, you be careful, Vint. If I was you, I wouldn't have nothing to do with her. Everyone in this town is dead set against her.
Fletcherville's her home. I guess she's got a right to come back to it.
Put this heel on, just didn't know his trade. Ain't no reason for a nail to go through on the inside there if the heel was put on proper. Who made these boots for you anyway, Vint?
Let me see. Come to think about it, I think you did.
Me? You dang well know I didn't. I know my own work. I never turned out a pair of boots like that even when I was apprenticed.
Oh, we can soon find out. Look on the inside of the heel. I think your mark's there.
Hmm? Well, I'll be... How'd that ever get inside there?
Just got the word, Seth. Looks like they're not going to wait very much longer. They're going to string him up today.
Today?
Yeah. What's the matter? You don't look too happy.
What time today?
Sundown. The sheriff's staying over to claim the body for the next of kin. You know who that means. We're meeting out at Joe Fletcher's half-hour before sundown.
Why?
You know why. Same time the state's getting rid of one of the Sparks, we'll be getting rid of the other.
How do you plan to do that?
Huh?
How are you going to get rid of the other Sparks?
We figure on letting Joel Fletcher handle that. It's his right. Was his paw Billy Sparks killed?
Seems to me this town's got a good case of lynch fever.
Seems like it's the town's business. None of yours, mister.
Don't get your quills up, Vint. There's just some things you can't do nothing about.
There's some things that need doing something about.
You don't understand, Vint. You're a rolling stone. Me, I'm in business in Fletcherville. So is Jim Pincher. The whole town is Fletcher built and run. I do like Joel tells me, and I get along. People ain't going to forget Dave Fletcher. Even Strad Bricker won't lift a hand for his daughter.
Seems to me I remember once that Joel and Helen Bricker were going to be married.
Yes, that was a long time ago. Two families had it kind of figured that way. Broke her paw's heart she didn't marry Joel. Dave Fletcher saved Strad's ranch once, and he stood to gain before closing, too. Billy Sparks isn't worth a hair of Dave Fletcher.
Well, I'll be back to those boots later.
Vint, we all know you. It ain't a matter of you fighting for Helen. It's who you're fighting against. It's more than Joel. More than just one man. It's a whole town.
Seth, you stick to your last, and I'll stick to mine.
Suppose you heard the news, Bonner. They're hanging Billy Sparks this afternoon.
I heard. I heard something else I didn't like the sound of.
Suppose you just mind your own business.
I should think a whole town against one woman would be anybody's business.
You're not foolish enough to think there's anything you can do about it.
I don't know. But I might be foolish enough to try. You like to play with that thing, don't you?
I know how to use it, too. You might remember that.
I'll remember.
That's good. And while you're remembering, there's just one other thing. Stay away from Helen Bricker.
Here's something for you, too. I don't do business in this town. That's one advantage of being a rolling stone. Helen, you're still young. You could go someplace else, start all over again. You've got your whole life ahead of you. Bitterness and false pride do terrible things to a person.
I'm Strad Bricker's daughter. I can fight just as hard and last as long as he can.
Fight what? And for what? And in the end, what do you gain?
What do I gain? The knowledge that I'm just as strong or stronger than they are.
Oh, you'll have that all right. You'll have that. And then you'll have the battle scars to go with it. All of a sudden you'll be old and lonely, like your father. There's only one thing sadder than a lonely old man.
Vint, I know what you're trying to do. When I'm ready to change my mind, I'll change it. This is my home. I was born here, and I'm going to stay.
All right. Helen, I didn't want to tell you this. They're hanging your husband today at sundown. And at the same time they're hanging him, your neighbors are planning something for you. I don't know what.
I rode out to see Stradbreaker. I didn't know what to expect or just what I would say to him. Maybe Joel Fletcher was right. Maybe I was being a little foolish. But I didn't like him saying it.
Live in the same town and don't see each other?
Vint, if you've come here to try to fix things up between us, you're wasting your time.
Well, I know it's none of my business.
I told her he was no good. Before she married him. I told her, but she knew more than everybody else. She wouldn't listen to me.
I guess it's pretty hard to see a person's faults when you're in love with them.
It had to take a lot to love Billy Sparks. Gun-happy fool. I was on the posse that went after him when he killed Fletcher. I went after my own son-in-law. Every man worth his salt in this town was on that posse. They don't come any better than Dave Fletcher. I owe everything I've got to him.
More than you owe your own daughter?
I haven't got a daughter. I'm not concerned with her anymore.
Yes, you are. You and the whole town are concerned. You're judging her and blaming her for something her husband did.
She doesn't have to stay here.
Oh, I didn't hear her complain. I don't think in all the time I've known the Bricker family I've heard anyone complain.
She's not a Bricker. She's Mrs. Billy Sparks, a murderer's wife. I'd sooner see her horsewhipped than have her called a Bricker.
I think maybe somebody has the idea to do just that.
What?
Joel Fletcher seems kind of handy with that whip he carries.
It's none of my business what he does.
Oh, I don't know. I've known you for a long time, Strad. I don't think you'd feel very good about it if any harm came to Helen.
Harm?
I hear some of the citizens are going to pay a visit to Helen at sundown. At the same time, they're hanging Billy in Junction City.
Ah, it's a lot of talk. Joel's excitable. He doesn't mean any harm. Besides, the sheriff would stop it.
The sheriff will be in Junction City till after the hanging.
Ah, what does she expect? Maybe it'll be all for the best. She doesn't belong in Fletcherville. This isn't her home, not anymore. Besides, if she needed anything, all she ever had to do was to come to me and ask.
You know she wouldn't do that. She's your own daughter.
Then why doesn't she say she's wrong? Why doesn't she come to me and say she's sorry? If she'd ask forgiveness, maybe I'd care what happens to her. Don't you see that, Vint? Then maybe I'd care.
Yeah. Yeah, I see.
Look, I know you're trying to be a friend. But no matter what anybody says or tries to do, I'm not leaving Fletcherville.
You are just as stubborn as your father. Aren't you going to ask me how he is?
I know how he is. He showed me this morning. He showed me plain.
Helen, I think I know you well enough to ask a question. Maybe you didn't know what Billy was like when you married him. But why did you stick with him after he killed Fletcher?
Well, I took vows, Vint.
And he gave you plenty of grounds to break them.
I'm my father's daughter. If I make a bargain or give my word good or bad, I'll stick to it. The sun's going down, Vint.
I understand you could have married Joel Fletcher.
Joel Fletcher? Did you get a good look at him this morning? You think he's any better than Billy? Besides, I wasn't going to be pushed into marriage because my father was beholden to his father.
With Sheriff Ritter away, there's no lawman to protect you, Helen.
Oh, I'm capable of protecting myself. Thanks, Vint. I'll be all right. I have this, and I know how to use it.
Helen.
I'll kill the first person who comes near this cabin. I mean it, Vint. I'm Billy Sparks' wife. A killer's wife, remember?
There's just a chance this town may forget. But if there's any gunplay here today, they never will.
I don't care if they do or don't. I married Billy. Nobody forced me to. I don't expect any favors now.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't think you're going to get any.
I told you to leave before they got here.
Give me that gun. You can get out the back way. I'll stall them.
I never thought I'd hear Vint Bonner tell anyone to run from a fight.
You never saw me walk right into one either. That's a mob out there. Do you know what a mob is? You think it's just a bunch of people? Well, it's not. It's the lowest form of animal.
Well, where do I run, Mr. Bonner? And when do I stop?
Mr. Sparks? Mr. Sparks, you here? We're giving you 2 minutes to come out.
I'll give you less than that to get off my property.
Now you stay here.
I don't want you taking my part, Vint.
Those fools out there I'm worried about.
We're coming in.
Staying out.
Get out of the way. This doesn't concern you.
Fletcher, I've seen men stoop pretty low. But what you're leading these men to do makes you kind of special.
This is none of your business, Bonner. I told you that. As for what we're planning, all we're going to do is give Mrs. Sparks a taste of the whip. Enough so she won't show her face in Fletcherville again.
Are you sure that's the reason? Or is it because her name is Mrs. Sparks and not Mrs. Fletcher?
You don't seriously believe that's why we're here?
Don't I? You wouldn't be the first man to lead people into doing things for one reason when the real reason was a hidden one of your own.
You're talking wild, Bonner. Now get out of our way. We're going to let one man tell us what we can do and what we can't do. This is our town, isn't it? Yes. Billy Sparks is dancing on air right now. I say let's get rid of the rest of his rotten family.
Stop! All of you, listen to me. I'll leave your town. Before I go, there's something you ought to know. You said Billy Sparks was dancing on air. You ever think what that must mean to me? All of you. Did you ever think what it was like for me? I had to live with him for 7 years. All right, go ahead. You think you're the only one who knows how to use a whip? Billy Sparks knew how to.
Can you forgive me, Helen? I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Listen to me. Listen to me, all of you. Just because...
Your father was a good man. Everyone here has cause to know that. But you aren't him or anything like him. If he were here to see this day's work, he'd be ashamed, as I am right now. He'd be ashamed this town bears his name.
I don't think you're going to get a chance to use that today.
This is all your fault, Bonner. If it hadn't been for you.
You wouldn't have lasted long anyway. People have a habit of finding out tin gods sooner or later.
You're a big man with a gun in your hand.
I'll throw away my gun. If you'll do the same with that whip.
Thanks, Vint. Thanks.
It's all right.